Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and any dogs that might be listening. We might have some dogs or cats in the chat, and we don't want to discriminate. So if you are there, welcome. Woof, woof, meow, meow. This is the daily live stream for those of you who might not have anyone to hang out with over the Christmas period. I thought we would all sit down every day, hang out, share some wisdom, answer some questions, give a little bit of coaching. So, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to start dropping your questions in the chat. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome, hello, or maybe meow and bark bark, woof woof. Let's get into some questions. I guess before we do, so my friend, I hinted at this before, my friend Tim is staying with me for a week or two, and he would love to come on these live streams and answer some questions. So maybe we'll do that in the next couple of days. Just depends on when he wakes up and feels happy and willing to talk. We will probably talk a little bit about, like, we'll answer all of your questions, but when he comes on, we'll probably talk a little bit about non-neediness and outcome independence with women, especially because I think he's an interesting case. He is someone that has not had a lot of sex. Like, I think he's been with, I can ask him, he'd tell me, like maybe 5 women in total in his whole life. He's seen quite a few escorts and like sex workers, but in terms of like women that he's met himself, I think maybe like 3 to 5 women he's had sex with, and he's had sort of longer term relationships with most of them. Not massively long term, but like a year or two. And so he hasn't had a lot of sexual partners, but from the very beginning, like when he'd only slept with maybe 2 people, he worked a lot on his outcome independence and his self-love and philosophy and being okay with himself. He's someone that has always been pretty okay with being single for like years at a time. I think a lot of people suffer when they're single and they're like, this is awful, there's something wrong with me. He's never had that. He's also never really had any resentment towards women or any distrust of women. He's never blamed women for his problems. And I think he's an interesting case because a lot of people think you need a huge abundance of sexual partners, especially as a man, before you can be independent and love yourself and all of that. Like a lot of people think, I need to have sex in order to feel good enough as a man. And he's someone that's like, no. In the very beginning, he felt good enough as a man. So we can talk about that. He will probably answer a bunch of your questions. He's very intelligent, very observant, very philosophical, and very peaceful and all of that. So yeah, I'll get him to come on in the next couple of days. Rishav says, meow to all the pussies. Meow to all the cats, my friend, not the pussies. We don't talk to the pussies. We make love to the pussies. Bark to all the dogs and bitch. Thanks for making me read out the word bitches on stream, which you did not make me do. I chose to do that. Phoenix, hello. So I think I'm out of my depth here with these philosophy. I'm out of my depth just trying to say the word philosophy, Phoenix. So welcome to the club. I'm out of my depth with these philosophy meetups. We were reading a comic where every joke had to be explained at the bottom of the page. Meetup ended with 2 immigrants from different parts of the world arguing over the situation in Ukraine. Yeah, that happens a lot, but lots of people argue. Like, was it you yesterday who was like, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a piece of shit? Was that you or is that someone else? Like, lots of people get emotional and argue and judge others and blah, blah, blah. Like, but this is like a beautiful thing, dude. Like, this is a beautiful thing. The fact that you went to this meetup and you're like, okay, these people argue a little bit about stuff that I don't really care about, and or I at least just don't want to sit there and listen to them argue. You know, they were talking about philosophy and stuff that I didn't really understand. You've gone to a meetup and you didn't really click. Beautiful. Now you go to another one. Like, that's what this is like. To be very clear, when I was going to 1 meetup a day, I did that for like 2 or 3 months. This is like many years ago. Yeah, lots of them I didn't really click. I tried to be really open-minded, but I just wouldn't click with some people, or I wouldn't click with the vibe. And then you go to some other meetup and just everyone's easy to talk to. Everyone's chill. Like, they're just your people. Part of this is a numbers game. Like, I think you know this, but like none of us expect you to click with every meetup you go to. That would be like such a ridiculous premise, right? That you're going to be friends with everyone on the entire planet. Now, you can have love for everyone on the planet. You can see them as your potential friend. You can see them as like human beings just like you. But like, that doesn't mean that you want to spend a meetup with them. So good job playing the numbers game, dude. You go on to say, anyway, I managed to get my wins even though I was in a drowsy, you miswrote that, but you wrote drowsy mood. Yes, 100%. Like, I say this all the time. Whatever your goal is, let's say your goal is business, or maybe it's like learning to talk to women, relationships, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, it's a numbers game. And your mission is not to worry so much about the outcome. Like a lot of you get very frustrated because you're so focused on the outcome. You're like, did I get this girl's phone number? If I didn't, then I failed. I got rejected. I fucked up. I should have done better. I should have been smoother. I'm going to argue with reality and get frustrated. The mission was never to have every single person give you the result that you want. The mission was for you to take the action. And as long as you took the action, then you're moving one step closer to the next person who wants what you want or wants to give you what you want. And so every no gets you one step closer to the next yes. And the same with meetups. It's like you're just not going to click with every single meetup that you go to. And that isn't the mission. The mission is put yourself in that situation where you're standing around a bunch of other people, and that's it. Like that's the only mission. So good job doing that mission. You go on to say, just posting here, because I have my D&D, Dungeons and Dragons game all day again. Love that. Lots of nerds in the chat. We got lots of people in this community that play Dungeons and Dragons. I myself, I've never gone to an in-person D&D meeting, like meetup, but I'm obsessed with Baldur's Gate 3, which is like based on Dungeons and Dragons. I've watched a hell of a lot of Dungeons and Dragons like podcasts where they like literally role play, like they play a game. Yeah, I love D&D. I think it's like such a cool fantasy game, and it's such a common thing for people in this community to be into D&D. A lot of people are very nervous to admit it. It's something that I think for a lot of people, they have a bit of shame or weirdness around the fact that they like D&D or anything nerdy. But like, why? I'm a giant fucking nerd. Embrace the nerdiness. It's much cooler to be, I guess, proud of and peaceful with something that you really enjoy doing, rather than sort of tiptoeing around it and being like, am I cool? Do people think I'm cool? They're probably going to think this hobby's nerdy. Cool, great. Let them think it's nerdy. So that's cool, man. Good job. As Rishav said, Congo, I think he means congrats. Congrats for taking the first step, Phoenix. Yeah, hell yeah. Rishav, you say first. No, Phoenix was first. You, my friend, were second. Dr. Chad, appreciate all the encouragement all the time from you, Mr. Chad. Phoenix, nice that you went to the meetup. Yeah, like that's the only mission. Is like go to the meetup or go talk to that cute girl or cute guy, or go say to this person, would you like my business product or service? Like literally just do the step. Go to the gym. Doesn't matter if the workout was great or not. Yes, I know you're trying to get good workouts, but if you go to the gym and you put in your best effort and it's not the best workout, you don't hit any PRs, and in fact, maybe your lifts go slightly down because you're tired or something, cool, you still did the work. Maybe work on your sleep so that tomorrow might be a slightly better workout or whatever it is. But the fact that you tried the thing is all that matters. Like success and self-improvement is often 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 4 steps forward, 6 steps back. Like it feels random. And some days you just don't feel like you were successful. But the only definition of success is, did I do the thing? Not, did I get the outcome? You won't get the outcome each time. Like that's just not how this works. You will not always be at your best. You will not always give peak performance, but that isn't the mission. Just go out there and try. Brandon says hello and then win. I have a date tomorrow with the girl from school that liked me back. Hell yeah, my brother, my boy, my man. Our man's going to go out there and have a beautiful date. And if you don't, that's okay too. But I'm predicting you're probably going to have an amazing date. She's going to have a great time. You'll probably be nervous, but hey, that's okay. She will be too. You guys will have a cute little time. Maybe you guys will kiss each other and be like, yo, can I kiss you? And she'll be like, you can kiss me, Brandon, because you're handsome and you have cool hair and you got a nice face. And then you'll kiss her and you go, and then she'll go, oh, fuck. And then you guys will be like, whoa, this was cool. And she'll be like, yeah, this was cool. Great. Good job. Rishav says, yeah, damn, that's... I amuse myself. Rishav says, damn, that's awesome, bro. Yeah, good job. Really cool. All right, Brandon, straight into the questions. I like this question, by the way. I'm nervous about telling girls that I'm dating multiple people. Yes, everyone is when they first say it. I was so utterly terrified. In fact, my friend Brandon, I literally have an entire article about this. It's called Honesty is an Ideal That You Work Towards. And so if you just search on my website, killyourinnerloser.com, you will find this article. Honesty is an ideal that you work towards. And I literally talk about, honesty has helped me a lot, blah, 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 lots of blah, blah, blahs. But I realize there's a very big chance that you might feel overwhelmed by the pressure to be honest and upfront as I am. Yes, I'm honest with girls, but remember, I've been doing this for years. I've had a lot of time to practice being honest, and even then, I'm not perfect with my honesty. It took a hell of a long time to get to this level of honesty. It's what I call autistic honesty, where I just autistically say whatever is in my brain. I don't think about how it sounds. I don't care about like being perfect or smooth. I just fucking say the truth. And so, yeah, I started out being manipulative, deceitful, conniving, especially when it came to women. If they asked me a direct question, I'd avoid it or change the subject or make a joke, because that's what pickup artists had told me I was supposed to do. And I believe that stuff. I went along with all of that. So, yeah, I was not perfect. And what I say is, I don't want you to think less of yourself if you struggle with being honest and being upfront with girls. In other words, Brandon, what you're saying here, it's okay if you're nervous about being honest. Most people are. I was. I didn't do it for years because I was so scared to do it. Most people ghost, not because they're assholes or bitches, but because they're scared to say, I don't want to see you again. And so they just ghost. Like, most people are really terrified with talking about what you're talking about. You go on to say, then I feel guilty for not telling her right away. As in, every second I haven't told her feels like I'm betraying her. You're not, and so that's what this article is for. Again, it's called Honesty is an Ideal That You Work Towards. I really recommend you read that article. It's me basically being gentle with you and saying, look, like, you're not betraying someone if you take a little bit of time to work up the courage to tell them. Yes, telling them up front is the best, but if you struggle to do that right now, just keep working up the courage to say it. And if you say it on the first date, that's brilliant. If you say it after you've already had a date and you guys already kissed and then you say it, that's still better than never saying it all. Never saying it at all. The mission here is that we're improving at our honesty and we're learning to be more honest and upfront over time. And for some of you, you will be able to just be upfront and honest immediately. And that's what I encourage. Like, you're capable of doing it, Brandon. You're just scared. But even if you try and you fail a bunch of times, like you try and get the words out, but you just can't. And then afterwards you beat yourself up and you're like, fuck, why didn't I tell her? What's wrong with me? We went on a date and I held her hand and I still hadn't told her. Fuck, why am I like this? Like, that's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Text her and just say it. Brandon, you could text her right now if you want to. Like, would you like to do that? Just send her a text and be like, hey, by the way, heads up, I usually date more than one person at a time. You're very welcome to see multiple people if you want to. But yeah, just wanted to be like upfront and honest with you. Just text that. Like, if you want to, you can text her that right now. And you have this fear and this nervousness because you're afraid of the unknown. Like, you don't know what she will say. I will tell you what the vast majority of women say. A lot of them, especially in a Western culture, say, great, thanks. I really appreciate you telling me. That's really cool of you. That's what most of them will say. Some of them will say, oh yeah, no, I assumed that. And then you're like, oh, cool, great. Now we're on the same page. We're not assuming. And then some of them will say, oh, really? Oh, okay, that's probably not what I'm looking for. And then you go, brilliant. I love that you know what you're looking for. It's clearly not the same thing that I'm looking for. Now you are more free to go get what you want. I am more free to get what I want. Now we're not going to waste each other's time. Imagine if we sleep together a bunch of times and then find out that we're not compatible. We would have just like spent all that time together, not for nothing, because you still would have had a beautiful time and blah, blah, blah. But like, we could have been free up to go find the people that would be a better fit for us. And so the worst that happens is someone says, hey, I'm not interested in that. And that would be a good thing. You go on to say, I also find myself being in my own head, or so in my own head on dates, to the point that it's not really fun. Yeah, well, welcome to the club, Mr. Brandon. That's why we give ourselves permission to suck. Like, this is a very normal thing, dude. Like, I'm in my own head. Yeah. Can you think of any other human beings on the planet who might have ever been in their head so much to the point where they didn't enjoy something? Literally every other human. So what you're feeling is very normal, man. It just makes you human. You say to the point where it's not really fun, like I'm so scared of fucking things up. Yeah, that is like literally most humans. And what might help you is on the next date, what if you just say what you've just written here to her? You say, what are some things I can do to be more relaxed? The only two things that'll really make a difference is you giving yourself permission to suck. Like, it's okay if you suck. What's the worst that happens if you fuck it up? She doesn't see you again. Cool. Then you're right back where you started. You're literally no worse off. Like, a week ago before you hit on her, your life was okay. and now all of a sudden your life isn't okay unless you do a good job on the date. No, that's not true. Like, your life was fine without her before, and so you'll be okay if she doesn't want to be with you, or she thinks you did a terrible job of the date. Also, you would be spared if that happens. You would be spared from spending time with someone that literally requires you to be perfect. And so if you fuck up a date, which is not even fucking it up, but if you supposedly fucked up a date and the person didn't want to be with you, good, you've been spared from being with someone that's that judgmental, or that is requiring a perfect partner, which is not you. You're not a perfect partner, so be honest about that. And the second thing that'll really help you is just admitting this shit. This is why I say, just be honest. This is what honesty is, and vulnerability. It's you being on a date and saying, hey, I'm really nervous and I'm in my own head. Like, I'm kind of worried about doing a bad job on this date. How are you feeling? And then she'll go, oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm literally sitting here going, I better not say something dumb because then he won't like me and he'll judge me. And then you go, holy shit. Wait, really? Both of us are feeling like this. And then you immediately have a partner now that can help you work on this. You have a partner in crime. You can literally say, hey, do you want to like work on the nervousness together? And she'll go, yeah, how do we do that? You go, I don't know. Maybe we can like talk about it. Do you want to talk about it? Like, what are you worried about? Why are you nervous around me? Like, I'm Brandon. I'm a nice person. I'm scared of you. Why are you scared of me? It's like that thing about snakes or spiders. They're more scared of you than you are of them. And so you can talk about it. And then you both realize like, oh, maybe we were just overthinking it and everything's okay. And even if we don't have a good date, that's okay. So yeah, just share this. Like, nothing bad happens. And in fact, beautiful things happen if you say, I'm nervous. How are you feeling? Because 99% of the time, the other person will say, yeah, I'm nervous too. Or I'm putting pressure on myself too. And you go, wow, it's not just me. So yeah, that helps. Yeah. You go on to say, I figured you would just say to tell her. Yeah, this is a fairly decent bit of advice that I got told like many years ago, which is, if there's someone whose opinion or whose like advice you respect, like me, for instance, you can kind of ask yourself, what do I think that person might say to me? And then I'll just do that. Like, what would Andy say, or what would Andy do? I do this myself with a lot of my mentors. You know, like one of my favorite coaches is a guy called Keith. And I will literally say, what would Keith say to me? What would Keith say to me right now? You can also play around and say, what would my future self say to me right now? Like my 80-year-old future self who knows everything and is super wise and full of wisdom and all of that. What would that guy say to me right now? What advice would my 80-year-old wise genius self say to me? And you probably already know what they would say to you. Like, your wise 80-year-old self, Brandon, would probably say, it's all good, man. You're trying to do your best. It's okay to be nervous. Like, just tell her that you're nervous. It'll be fine. Worst case scenario, she goes, you're nervous? That's disgusting. I don't like human beings that are nervous. And then she leaves. And then you're like, wow, I dodged a psychopath. Like, so yeah. What would my future self say? As you say, yeah, I've watched a lot of your content to the point where I feel like I'm quite sure what advice you might give in each situation. Yeah, like, this is all I do with my people, with my mentors, is like, what do I think they would say to me? And like, most of the time, the advice that they give, or the advice that I think they would give, is actually really helpful. You can also play around with like, will I care about this a year from now? Or will I care about this 5 years from now? Like, will you care about being nervous on a date a year or 5 years from now? Probably not. You probably won't give a fuck. You probably won't even be nervous. And if you are, because you might still be nervous, like, to be clear, I sometimes get nervous to sit down in front of all of you now. Even now, I have done like 1,500 pieces of content. I still sometimes sit down and I'm nervous. Like 2 days ago, I was really nervous. It's random. It just comes and goes. I don't take it seriously. And so 1 or 5 years from now, you'll probably still be nervous on some dates. Every now and then I have a date where I'm nervous. Like maybe 1 in every 20 dates I'm nervous. Maybe 1 in every 10 dates I'm nervous. I just don't give a fuck because I'm like, wow, I'm nervous. Cool. It's like the 10,000 billionth time I've been nervous about something in my life. Cool. So 1 year or 5 years from now, you probably won't care. So just relax. In the future, at some point, you're going to not care. So it's okay for you to care right now. You don't even need to do anything. But if you just go on enough dates, you will eventually not care. If you just work on your self-love, you will eventually not care. If you just keep working on letting go and relaxing and Buddhism and mindset and playing to win and all of that, at some point you just won't care. You'll be like, I'm nervous. Cool. Great. That's a feeling. It's just an emotion. Why am I taking my emotions so seriously? And that's something you can play around with. And it's not just you, dude. I think you know that. Lots of people take their emotions ridiculously seriously. They feel an emotion and they're like, okay, listen up, everybody. Excuse me, entire world and my own world as well. I am currently feeling nervous. I need you all to stop what you're doing. This is very important. I'm feeling nervous. And I know you're not doing that. I'm kind of exaggerating a bit, but like, that's what our emotions tell us to do. They're like, there is a huge problem in the world, ladies and gentlemen. I am feeling shit. Everybody, especially me, we all need to stop what we're doing. I'm shit. I feel shit. And it's like, it's okay to feel shit. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to go on a date and be terrifyingly nervous. Like, that's okay. But we're so busy thinking that our emotions are not okay that we never even consider the option that maybe it's okay to be nervous. Like, why does it have to be a bad thing? In other words, Brandon and anybody else, you can play around with this concept. Anytime you feel some strong emotion or you're tempted to say this sucks or whatever, you can add the sentence, and that's okay, to the end of it. So, I'm nervous, and that's okay. So, like, we can play around with your original question. This one. I'm nervous about telling girls that I'm dating multiple people, and that's okay. I might struggle to tell girls that I'm dating multiple people, and that's okay. Then I feel guilty for not telling her right away, and that's okay. Every second that I haven't told her feels like I'm betraying her, and that's okay. I find myself being so in my head on dates to the point that it's not really fun anymore, and that's okay. I find myself really scared of fucking things up or something, and that's okay. You know, I struggle to relax, and that's okay. I roughly know what you will say, Andy, but sometimes I feel like I just want to be reassured, and that's okay. Like, it's all okay. We're just so busy saying that it's not. Like, human beings spend their entire life saying everything's not okay. Meanwhile, the universe just keeps on trucking. The universe doesn't give a fuck. The universe is just busy. Like, there's planets rotating, there's galaxies smashing into each other, there's black holes, there's all sorts of wild shit going out there. Go look at nature. There is like some cool ass fucking wild shit happening in nature. Like, nature and the universe doesn't give a fuck. We're just too busy pointing at nature and black holes and our own life and our nervousness and our emotions. We point at everything and say, that's not okay. What else is not okay? That's not okay. That's problematic. I really don't like the way that he talked to her. That's not okay. What this guy did, that's not okay. Well, what I did, that's not okay. This emotion I'm feeling, that's not okay. God, what else is not okay? What else are we not okay with? I don't like this ceiling here. I think it's too low. I'm not okay with that. This desk is a bit messy. That's not okay. The kitchen needs cleaning. That's not okay. I really should clean that. I feel guilty feel guilty for every millisecond I haven't cleaned the kitchen until the moment it's done. But then I look around and find the next thing to feel guilty about. Like, we're just constantly going around saying things aren't okay, and we should feel guilty, and we should do this, and we shouldn't have done that. Like, we're so busy fucking putting labels on everything. This is good, this is bad, this is awful, this is wrong, this shouldn't be like this, he shouldn't have said that. And it's like, I don't know, guys. At some point, I just got fucking tired of that. My brain still does that. I'm still judgmental, just a lot less than I used to be. And at some point, I just got so sick and tired of judging things and saying, this is bad, this emotion is wrong, I shouldn't feel this. How do I fix this? Why do I have this problem? Like, if you all take anything away from my content, it's everything is okay and everything's going to be okay. You won't always believe that when I say that, but it is. You're just so busy like fucking saying that it's not. Or maybe an easier statement to digest is everything just is. Everything in the world, everything in the universe, all of your emotions, all of that is just like fucking doing its own thing. And then it's us that come along and put a sticky note on everything saying, all right, sticky note this as good. We'll put a little sticky note on that's good. This is bad. We'll put a little label on that as bad. Like, we have a little pen or a texter and we're writing on everything good, bad, awful, evil. Oh, great. I love that one. Oh, this one's good. But only when I'm in a good mood. Then when I'm in a bad mood, this one's a bad thing. Even my moods. This mood is good. This mood is bad. My emotions are good sometimes, but these ones are bad. These emotions here are good. These ones are awful. I hate these ones. Depression is like the worst thing in the world. Rejection is like awful. Like, we're just so busy labeling things that we forget to actually look at the thing we're looking at. Like, we don't even see the thing. Like, you're not even seeing nervousness, Brandon. You're just seeing awful feeling. Like, you're too busy saying awful feeling, got to avoid this, hate this, don't want this is bad. You haven't even just felt the nervousness. And so this is something that can help. It's like, sit in the emotion and feel it. Like, so many of you, I used to be this way myself, and I still am sometimes, are so avoidant of your emotions and your feelings. You're so terrified of them that you never actually let yourself fucking feel them. Like part of how you heal grief is by fucking feeling it. And that can be difficult. For a lot of people, that's scary. Like I'm not saying snap your fingers and just process your emotions. But nervousness as well is a very easy one to run away from and go, I got to self-medicate this. It's awful. I can't just sit in it. If I sit in it, I'll die. No, you won't. Your body will feel anxious. Your chest will feel tight. Your hands might shake. You might sweat. These are just some physical symptoms. You've felt those physical symptoms a billion times in your lifetime. What if you just sit in them and feel them? They wear themselves out. They eventually solve themselves. They're not even a problem that needs solving, but the emotion eventually fades away. If you just sit in like nervousness, it eventually goes away. But it is the terror of the nervousness that keeps it going. It's the terror of anxiety and saying anxiety is a bad thing that keeps it going. It's we can zoom out and talk about just mental health in general. It's labeling something a mental health issue and then doing everything you can to like fix it, avoid it, run away from it, like call it awful, that then perpetuates that mental health issue. You make it a lot stronger. Like that which we resist persists. This is a basic psychological thing. Like any psychologist will tell you that. Literally every counselor or therapist will tell you that. But we spend so much of our time avoiding things that we say that are bad, and we don't like just sit in them. But they're not bad. They just are. Nervousness just is. You might not want it. You might avoid it and all of that, but it's still just our feeling. And then Brandon, being an absolute legend after my big TED talk there, fuck it, I texted her and told her I'm seeing other girls. I have nothing to lose. Exactly. And you have everything to gain. And even gain or loss is still just a story. Like if you can just sit there and be almost more rational and scientific about it, like a man of science. If she replies and goes, screw you, Brandon, I don't want to be with you, which I promise she won't say that. But if she texts you and says, I don't want to be with you then, just be a man of science. Like you have a little clipboard and you're just taking notes and you go, oh, interesting. Okay, so this one particular woman. So what are the facts? I texted this one woman. I'm seeing other people, by the way. And then she replied, I don't want to be with you. Cool, interesting. Isn't that interesting? Like you're just doing experiments. You're just doing science. Like you're just noticing what happens. In other words, what I say all the time, I have no expectations, only curiosity. Let me figure out what happens. Let me see what happens. So really good job, dude. Amazing. Like really, really, really beautiful job. I will, like my friend Tim, who's staying with me, who I said will come on one of these live streams whenever you guys want. He is the guy that came up with that saying. I guess he didn't come up with it. It just came into his head like fucking divinity or something. And that's him. So I have no expectations, only curiosity. Expert Sheet Clapper says, hello there, lads and ladettes. Well, hello yourself, my friend. How you doing? Framebite. I believe this is one of your first times you've ever come to the live stream, or at least the first time you've typed in the chat. Hey, Andy, I just wanted to tell you that you had a major impact on my self-improvement, especially when it comes to my sexual prowess by introducing me to BDSM. Amazing. That's really cool. That's like really, really, really cool. If you feel like sharing, please don't be too graphic or YouTube will like block your comment and maybe you'll even get like banned. But I don't know, maybe just like in a very educational way, if you feel like it, let us know maybe some of the experiences you've had or what you've worked on and try and do that in a non-sexual way. You know, just maybe talk about the kinks that you're into. Like, oh, I've loved trying restraints, or, you know, the women that I've been with really love teasing. Like just talk about it in an educational way. And if you don't want to, you know, you don't have to. Lots of people want to keep that stuff private, but that's beautiful, man. I'm basically very interested to hear the impact or the fun that you've had with BDSM, and just as much so, the fun that the women have had. Like I want to hear about how the experience has been for them. Like what have they gotten out of it and what have you gotten out of it? So beautiful. I love that. Expert Cheat Clapper, my friend, says this year has been a letting go year. Hell yes, I love that. I've been neurotic about being a late bloomer for so many years. Yeah, lots of people can relate to that, hey. But I've taken all emotion out of it by just stating that objectively, I just didn't take action. Yeah, okay. My favorite analogy that I say to lots of coaching clients, I literally did one of those $200 coaching calls with a guy like 3 days ago. And same thing, like he's in his 30s, I think he's like 32, and hasn't had a lot of sex and relationships, and was very much feeling like I've missed out, blah, blah, blah. Like I must be a loser. There must be something wrong with me. Like all that regret of not taking action. And I said, hey, have you ever entered a marathon? And he goes, no, I haven't. No. I said, so you've never completed a marathon? And he goes, no. And I said, wow, you must be a real loser, hey, because you've never finished a marathon. Damn, dude, like that. At your age, you've never finished a marathon. That's fucked, bro. Damn, dude. Like, how do you sleep at night? Like, do you look around at all the people around you who've completed a marathon? You must feel so insecure and so not good enough, right? Like these fucking alpha males out there, these fucking masculine men going out there completing marathons. Some of them even doing it with women. Like, wow, damn. And all these women that have completed a marathon, bro, they're so much better than you. Damn, dude. I didn't realize I was talking to a loser. Fuck, man, that sucks. Dude, bro. Oh, damn. Bro, how do you sleep at night? And he was kind of laughing. You know, I had a big smile on my face when I was saying all of this. And he kind of laughs and he's like, well, yeah, but I guess I just never thought about entering a marathon. And I was like, so you've never trained for a marathon? You've never like tried to do a marathon? Like you've never put your name down and entered a marathon? And he's like, no. And I was like, so would it be fucking ridiculous for me to actually judge you for not having finished a marathon when you've never tried? You've literally never properly tried to enter a marathon. You've never trained for months or years. You've never actually entered one and tried. You've never talked to other people about how you would run a marathon and what you would do. You've never conditioned your body for a marathon. You've never researched marathons. You've never even actually fucking sat down and said, what would I need to do to complete a marathon? Like, you've never done any of that, correct? And he's like, yeah, I guess I just like never really put a lot of time or thought into marathons. And I was like, dating is the same thing with you. You have never actually sat down and properly said, let me come up with a plan of action and let me start executing on it. Because if you had, you would get the results. And so you just haven't entered this marathon, but yet you're beating yourself up for not having completed a marathon. You see how irrational that is? And when I said that, he was like, holy shit. Yeah, I guess I never really tried with dating. Yeah. You were too busy, focused on other things. And that's beautiful. You were literally busy winning in other ways. You were enjoying other things. You were doing other things with your life. You were getting something out of the choices that you made to do other things. You were getting something out of that. Otherwise, you wouldn't choose to do it. Human beings only do something that they're getting something out of. And you might say, but how come I look at porn and video games and alcohol and it makes me feel like shit? What am I getting out of that? You're getting a lot of things out of that. Self-medication, for one, distraction from your guilt and your shame and your emotions, like avoidance of things that you find difficult. Like, you're getting a lot of things out of hurting yourself. So we're always only ever doing something that we get something out of. But yeah, this is a big realization, expert cheek clapper. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. I just wasn't putting time towards my dating goals, or I was putting a little bit of time towards it, but I wasn't doing like maybe the prerequisite amount of time. Like, it wasn't my main goal or even like my second goal. It just wasn't that important to me because I was doing other stuff. So yeah, there's no judgment in that. You just weren't doing the thing, so you didn't get the results. Brandon, you're going to say, I like this rational scientist angle. It helps put things in perspective without adding stories that don't match reality. Yeah, if I can just get all of you, I talk about this a lot. Let's bring it up. The map of consciousness, the beautiful map of consciousness. One of my favorite things to talk about because it's really helpful. So this, there we go. Wait, how can I? There we go. You can all see that, right? Beautiful. So this is the map of consciousness made by a psychologist called David Hawkins. One of my favorite people. He's the guy who wrote the book Letting Go. And it's basically a mapping of most of the categories of emotions, or all the categories of emotions that humans will feel. And any emotion that you can think of fits somewhere into one of these categories. And so down the very bottom is like shame and guilt and grief and, anger and all of that. And those emotions aren't bad. Like, when you look at this map, it's not saying any emotion is good or bad. They're just limited. And so if you're trying to achieve a life of happiness and abundance and all of that, if you're feeling tons and tons and tons of guilt or shame, it can be a lot harder to take action. You're limited in how much energy you have to take action and how much action you're able to take. If you're at the very top of this map, if you're feeling a lot of like peace and joy and love and reason, by the way, is just being rational, like a man or a woman of science. Like, that's what reason means. Like, stoicism is in reason. If you're higher up on that map, it's way easier to take action. If you're feeling peace and joy and love, you want to go outside and talk to people. And if you're single, You probably really love yourself and you're just happy being you. You're happy with being single. And then with that energy, you walk up to people and you're like, hi, how's it going? I'm feeling really good. Can I help you feel really good? And then she or he is like, holy shit. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, let's go on a date. Like, you're just easier to be around. People like you more. And it's not a reflection of your worth as a person, but just the higher up you are on this map, or the more of the emotions you feel that are higher up on this map, the easier it is to take action, the more people respond to you in a way that you might like, blah, blah, blah. Like, pretty obvious shit. If you're walking around feeling peace, yeah, you're probably going to be happier than if you're walking around feeling guilt and shame and hatred and anger. Like, yeah, no shit. But look at where reason is on the map, which is like being very logical. But there's also one below that. This one here, neutrality, is just being neutral about things. And this is what I try and encourage for a lot of you. If you could just be a bit more fucking neutral and just state the facts exactly as they are, and instead of saying, I got rejected, and then the implication being that's a bad thing, if you just tell the truth. I walked up to girl. I said, hi, girl. Would you like to go out with me? Girl said, no, thank you. I have boyfriend. Then I walk away. That's it. That's neutral. You will literally feel better about that if you say it in a neutral way or frame it in a neutral way, rather than she rejected me and it hurt and it was awful and all of that. If you literally just state the facts, almost like a fucking robot, that's neutrality. And that like immediately launches you so high up on this map. Like you've moved out of guilt and shame and fear and grief. Like grief is what most people feel when someone says no to them. They feel literal grief. And then sometimes that turns into guilt. I should have done a better job. Or shame. I'm not good enough. See, I'm unworthy. I knew it was hopeless. I knew I would never find love. Or fear. What if I can never find someone? Or anger. Fuck this bitch. Like, why are women never giving me a shot? Or men are all assholes. Like, if you can just be neutral about it, you immediately feel so much better. So that's a big part of what I try and do with this content, is get a lot of you to feel just neutral. I'm trying to get you to feel like love and excitement and joy, which is like part of how we do that is we say, see the other person as a human being. She's not saying no to you. She's saying yes to herself. Isn't that beautiful? She wants what she wants. She's teaching you how to have healthy boundaries. If she says no to you, now it's easier for you to say no to something you don't want to do. Wow, she's teaching you so much. Isn't she your perfect teacher? What a beautiful human. She was put in your life to teach you fucking boundaries, or teach you that not everyone on the planet wants to sleep with you. She's literally an enlightened being trying to teach you fucking patience and to keep going. Like, yeah, I'm trying to get you guys and girls to feel stuff that's a little bit higher up, because then you're more empowered to take action. All right, Framebite, you say nothing too extreme in terms of like BDSM and kink and all of that. Just being in the dominant role during sex. Just think of the standard dom things. Also, last week I had my first threesome. Okay, what the holy moly. Amazing. Brilliant. Beautiful. As you said, yeah, I followed your advice about just connecting two girls that I'm seeing, and it happened really naturally. Not as life-changing as I would have thought, though. I'm pretty sure I say that in the threesome guide. Yeah, and this is something beautiful that you're learning. Like, threesomes are a beautiful thing. Money is a beautiful thing. Having lots of sex can be a beautiful thing. But these things in and of themselves will not necessarily make you happy. What will is the appreciation of them. This is something that I have covered to death in my content, and I will say until the end of time, because if you guys really get this, you're basically teaching yourself enlightenment. Like, this is like a very Buddhist idea, that the external things themselves will not bring you happiness, but your appreciation of them does. In other words, gratitude. So the video that talks about this the most is this one here. You think Lambos, women, and money will make you happy? Question mark. The hedonic treadmill. And you can just find that video by searching for Lambos, I guess. So that video talks about that. It's not that there's anything wrong with Lamborghinis or threesomes or money, but yeah, the thing itself is not what will bring you happiness. It's the appreciation of it. Also, in my Play to Win video course, I literally cover this in the chapter. It's like the second last chapter. This one here. Self-reflection, mindfulness, and gratitude, how to not move the goalposts, this chapter. And so I literally talk about that. I'm like, having sex or having a threesome or learning BDSM or learning to play the piano or winning a gold medal or becoming a billionaire, that thing by itself won't make you happy. It's just a fucking thing. And you've probably glamorized it and made it all sexy and all of that. And it can be those things, but only if you appreciate it. So it's the appreciation, it's the reflection, it's the mindfulness, it's the gratitude of something that brings us joy of it. And I've talked a lot about gratitude as well. You can also just, I guess, search my channel for gratitude or grateful. Especially, there was a video I did about a homeless guy. This one here. So search for the word grateful, and then the very first video at the top that shows up, that's like literally talking about all of this. Like, are you grateful for, or how to be grateful for the things in your life, whatever they might be, whether they're small, big. But yeah, beautiful, man. I think that's incredible. And I like that you said having a threesome is not that complicated. It's not some special thing. You just find two women that want to have a threesome, and then you try it together and you have a great experience together. That's it. Like, it's not difficult. You don't have to be a certain type of person to do something like that. You don't really have to be a certain type of person to do much of anything. You just ask a lot of people and improve yourself in the meantime. And some people say yes. That's it. Brandon, you say, my year has been a run towards fear year. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Fear, all fear is an illusion. That is a Buddhist quote. And if you can live your life that way, all fear is an illusion. And it is. You don't know if the fear will come true. So therefore, it is at this moment in time an illusion. Like, it's you guessing at what will happen in the future. We don't know if that's true or not. You've literally made some shit up. Our brains make shit up to be afraid of because that's a survival mechanism. Our brains aren't retarded. They're trying to keep us safe. So we can notice the fear and say, hey, brain, like, hey, caveman brain or cavewoman brain. We all have like a caveman or cavewoman brain. That's what we were born with. I really appreciate you trying to keep me safe. That's fucking dope of you. Like, thank you for trying to keep me alive. Yeah, I probably would have just gone and like ran in front of traffic or jumped out of a fucking tree or something and killed myself if you weren't there telling me all the fears and anxieties and things that could go wrong. So thanks for keeping me safe. You're like my parachute. You have kept me safe in life. I really fucking appreciate that. However, let's try running towards some of these fears and just seeing what happens. Like, we'll see if things are okay. And hey, fearful caveman brain, you can come along. I'm not even going to tell you that you're fucking retarded. I'm not going to tell you to shut the fuck up. I'm not going to ignore my fears. You can be right there with me. Tell me how to be safe. Tell me what you're scared of. I'll listen. I'll tell you it's going to be okay. And then we're going to go take some cool action and see what happens. And if it gets too scary, hey, brain, tell me. And we can chill a little bit. We can take a break. We can go do something chill and fun. We can spend time with our friends. We can take a day off. We don't have to always constantly every day be living in fear. Like, I get it, little brain, you might get overwhelmed. Hey, that's beautiful. I care about you. I love you. I'm going to look after you. That's my job. You are my garden, and I am the garden keeper. I'm going to water you. I'm going to look after you. I'm going to love you. But fearful brain, let's go do some cool fucking shit. You know, it's like that Byron Katie quote. Don't be too careful. You might hurt yourself. So I love this, man. This is beautiful. What a great year it sounds like you've had. Expert cheek clapper, 40 days without porn and still counting. What a way to end the year. Beautiful. I love that, my friend. That's really cool. Anzu, good job. Good job, expert cheek clapper. I want to do the same. You can, Mr. Anzu. Just start really small. Like, brilliant. Chad, you say, I'm often at acceptance or around that area on the map of consciousness. Brilliant. I love that. Like, if you can just go around accepting things and say, like, it is what it is. Like, damn, dude, life is like pretty fucking sweet at that point. Like, if you're just like, oh yeah, okay, my boss fired me. Okay, I can just get another job. What am I going to do? Like, if you just start immediately focusing on action, instead of like then spending the next like couple of hours or days or weeks like complaining about it, getting upset about it, then complaining to your friends, and then they get upset, and then they help you get more upset, and then you just like, all of that is days or weeks or months that you could have spent taking action. And so if we can just get straight down to like, okay, it happened. What do I want to do about it? Fucking hell, man. Like, life gets pretty fucking beautiful pretty quickly. As expert cheek clapper said, in terms of like, you know, letting go of porn, just do one day at a time. Yeah, 100%, like baby steps. And something else that can help with letting go of porn, and full disclosure, I'm not perfect with this, but I have let go of alcohol and some other things. But something that helps me a lot is I just treat it like a fun game. And rather than making it all or nothing, of like, if I ever look at porn again, then I failed and I'm a piece of shit and what's wrong with me? It's like, how long can I go without porn? How many days can I go without it? Like, what is my current streak? If I go 3 days without porn, when normally I would look at porn every day, holy shit, what a record. And then if I look at porn, I don't need to beat myself up. I just went 3 days without porn. That's incredible. Wow. Now can I try and do 4 days at a time? And then I do that. And it's like, holy smokes, look at me. I must be some sort of legend. Now I'm doing 4 days without this thing that I used to do every day. Damn, boy, like, this is so cool. and then you aim for 5 days. And so I like to play a game of it. That's one way you can do it. I would get some sort of accountability or people that believe in you, or like, something like that. That makes it easier. But yeah, just do it one day at a time, man. Like, the mission is not to be perfect. If you end up being perfect and never look at it ever again, holy crap, that's amazing. But the mission is progress and improvement. Mortis, you say, you said, I think I might be at the acceptance or neutrality phase. And then when I think back about dating, I get back to anger, desire, fear, and grief. Yeah, and that's a really useful, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Yes, sometimes we move all up and down that map of consciousness. Like, maybe you're walking around like a Zen Buddhist monk, and you walk up to people and you're like, namaste, namaste, you are beautiful. And you like lean in and you kiss people on the forehead. You just see some old lady and you're like, and then you see some guy and you're just like, you're kissing everyone on the forehead. You're just like, you are loved, my child. And then, I don't know, you flick the news on and, I don't know, there's some politicians arguing, and then you're like, fuck that guy, that fucking piece of shit, you fucking asshole. If I ever saw you in the street, I would fucking, fuck you, fucking. And then you're like, wait, what just happened? It's like, that's okay. That's like part of being a human. We move up and down on the map sometimes. Sometimes I lose a little bit of patience. A lot of the time, my brain will judge people. So that's how this goes. But the mission is to slowly move up over time. That is kind of the mission of every person. Like, literally every person on the planet wants to feel more happiness and peace and joy and love. It's just that most people don't know how to do that. And so that's kind of what humanity, or I guess consciousness, is about. It's like, how can we feel more of those higher calibrations or higher vibrations? We're all just here for good vibrations. I love that song. And you go on to say, even my friends told me recently that something has changed in me. That's beautiful. I love that. One day at a time. Yeah. And then forgive yourself if some days you're down in anger. That means you're a human. Like, the mission here is progress, not perfection. And enlightenment is an ideal that you work towards, and maybe you never ascertain. Or peace and love is an idea that you work towards. Because the word enlightenment can often be vague. Like, if you say that, people are like, what the fuck is that? I don't get what that means. So it's like, okay, just try and feel a little bit more peace and a little bit more love every day, and try and spread that love to other people a tiny bit at a time, including yourself. Just the tiniest bit. That's why I like Buddhism's stated mission or method, which is just summed up in one word: compassion. And then you're like, oh, I think I know what that is. Yeah, I might not be practiced at it. I might not know how to do it, but I have had people be compassionate to me. I have been compassionate to other people. Okay, so just do a little bit more of that. Okay. Or you could pick something like gratitude and just practice that every day and do a little bit of it every day. Put a reminder in your phone. What are 3 things I'm grateful for? Just say that every day, and then start saying to other people some things that you're grateful for, and then just practice gratitude. Like, that's a really good way to feel more peace and love and joy and happiness. So, yeah. Framebite says, I've had these streams in the background while I study. All right, so you're one of those people. We had this conversation the other day. There's a bunch of like perverts and voyeurs who are watching the stream, and you're one of those people. I appreciate you listening in. You're probably sitting there fucking like listening to us, like jerking yourself off, like, oh yeah, look at these people like working on their stuff. Like, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you now making your presence known and saying hello. I've been watching y'all like a pervert. I'm joking, by the way. I hope that's always clear. Like, nobody is compelled to write in the chat. I appreciate all of you just being here. And nobody who watches these streams afterwards, I don't expect you to fucking comment or come to the chat. We're making jokes, but yeah, brother, that's cool. And what you're talking about here, like having these on in the background while you do stuff, yeah, this is something that I've always done in my life and still do. I have a lot of like positivity podcasts or motivational podcasts. I love listening to the Byron Katie podcast or audiobooks that are positive. I have listened to like hundreds of audiobooks while doing other shit, like going for a walk and just listening, playing video games. One of my favorite things to do, because I love playing video games, and maybe some of you can relate to this. A lot of the time you'll play a video game and then afterwards you're like I had fun with that, but like that wasn't super productive, and I kind of want to spend my time being a bit more productive. Play fucking audiobooks or podcasts while you play the game. Like, especially if it's a game where you don't have to massively think too much. And like this doesn't really work with like puzzle games where you have to be thinking. But if it's a game where you don't have to think too much, you can Play the game as much as you want. While you have this like dope ass audiobook playing and you're learning and you're growing and you're evolving, while you play some video games, you get the best of both worlds. You get to like learn and evolve and be, quote, productive. And you get to relax and chill and play some video games. It's beautiful. So that's something I do a lot. I love that you're doing basically the same thing. Like you're basically brainwashing yourself into positivity, because I say this a lot. Most of us have been brainwashed into negativity. Like most people play not to lose. They're terrified of making mistakes. Our parents just try and keep us safe and say, don't talk to strangers. Like that's playing not to lose. Maybe that's great advice when you're like under 10 years old. But then at some point it's like, but if I never talk to strangers, how will I make friends? How will I ever meet a girlfriend? Like, how will I do any of this stuff if I don't, I have to talk to strangers. Also, if I never talk to strangers, how do I get a job? I have to talk to, I don't know the person who's interviewing me. I have to talk to them. Like, imagine you're going to an interview and they're like, hey, so like, what would you say is your biggest strength? And you're like, no, mommy said not to talk to strangers. And they're like, get the fuck out of my interview. Actually, they'd probably find that funny. But if you're serious about it, then they're like, okay, I think maybe just we end the interview and like, thank you for your time. And you're like, no, I didn't hear that because I can't talk to you because you're a stranger. And you might finger my bottom. And you get the joke that I'm making, man. So yeah, I love this. Like most of us have been brainwashed into negativity. And so I like to sort of be a bit more neutral and match that lifelong brainwashing of negativity that I've had with some positive brainwashing. I like to hear some positive people. And by the way, when I say that people have brainwashed us into negativity, that's like a big thing to say, but they haven't done it on purpose. Like most, they've tried to save us from fears and from danger and all of that. They've done it to keep us safe. But yeah, like you say, you've embraced your hippie mindset. It's funny that you call it that, but I guess you can call it hippie. I used to call it hippie a lot too. So maybe I am a hippie. Maybe that's like an accurate way of saying it. You're going to say, I've become the dating coach of my friends group. That's fucking dope, man. That's so cool. Isn't it cool that when we start winning and like building the life that we want to live, whatever that goal is, you know, dating, business, friends, body, mental health, happiness, whatever, as we start to win and have victories, we just naturally want to share that with other people because like, why the hell not? We remember how much we struggled and we see someone else struggling and we're like, holy shit, if I just tell this person what I know now, I might save them like years of pain. And then you say it to them and they go, oh, thanks, cool. And then they take action and they win. And you're like, well, what the fuck? Like that took me like 3 years to learn that lesson. And you just got to hear it in like 5 seconds. And then you changed your action and you improved. Damn. Are there other things I could tell people and save them like years of going through what I went through? And part of the reason why we like to do that is because that means that our suffering or what we went through was not for nothing. There's meaning in our suffering, which means there's meaning in our life. And so that's part of why we share our ideas, to show ourselves and to feel like our stuff that we went through was meaningful. It meant something. I didn't just suffer endlessly because the universe is a cold, evil place that doesn't give a fuck about me. No, I suffered or I struggled or I went through that learning experience so I could help someone else not do that. Holy fuck. Maybe the whole point of consciousness in life is to learn and then pass that on so other people can then use that information to go even further. Maybe the whole point of consciousness or being alive is to keep evolving and learning and growing. And like, yeah, that probably is why we're here. So beautiful, man. That's amazing. And then to give the exact opposite, like we'll go now in the opposite direction. Not that it's really the opposite, but let's talk about GILFs. So there you go. There's your little conversation about enlightenment and, you know, consciousness and what are we here for and evolution and happiness. And let's talk about older ladies that we want to sleep with. You want to talk about great grandmothers that you want to sleep with. What do you think? Okay, so I point this out a lot, but anytime you guys ask me an opinion, like you're literally saying, what do you think about great grandmothers that I want to sleep with? What opinion could I possibly have that would be interesting to you in any way? Like, how could my opinion possibly be interesting? My opinion is going to be, I want you to do whatever you and these women want to do. Like, what a boring opinion. I know, radical notion. I just want you to do what you and they want to do. But I don't have an opinion. And I say this a lot. There are lots of things, maybe most things, I just don't have an opinion on. Because my opinion, why is my opinion more interesting than yours? I will tell you a fact. I will talk to you about like self-improvement and stuff. But if you're like, what's your opinion on GILFs? I'm going to be like, I mean, they exist. There's lots of older ladies that people want to sleep with. So like, They're real. I believe they're real. I believe in gilfs. Like, I don't really have a massive opinion about this. It would be like if you said, what's your opinion on pineapple and pizza? I'd be like, I enjoy it. Lots of people don't. So, like, my opinions are not that interesting, I guess, is what I'm saying. But if you want to sleep with an older lady, then just be honest and upfront and say, hey, older lady. Maybe don't say, hey, older lady, but you can if you want to. Hey there, cougar. Would you like to get with a little boy toy like me? Would you like a little spice on your curry? Especially if it's like an older lady. I know you're in India. But okay, Rishabh, if you ever travel to like a different country, or if you ever meet people in your country that are like, you know, white or Asian or whatever, here's your first line. It's like, hey there, girl. Would you like a little spice on that curry? Or would you like a little curry with... Bro, fucking hell. Okay, imagine you meet an Asian girl and you're like, hey, would you like a little curry with that rice? You know, because she's rice, you're curry. It's not even racist because, like, probably is racist, but whatever. Would you like a little curry with that rice, girl? And she's like, whoa. What do you say if it's a white girl, I guess? What are white girls like? Frozen yogurt. Would you like a little curry with that frozen yogurt? It doesn't really work, but whatever. Would you like a little curry with that yogurt? That's what you say. I'm giving you all the lines, Rishabh. Yeah, see, there you go. That's a nice pickup line. Who would have thought that this channel would become like a pickup line channel? But I can give you guys and girls like, Rishabh, do you like curry on your steak? Yeah, but like, I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like steak is like a guy thing. Like, women will eat steak, but I don't feel like they care about it. If we're going off just literal stereotypes, then I don't know. White girls, this is like so stereotyping, but white girls love frozen yogurt. But you're right, that doesn't really work. Do you want curry in your frozen yogurt? All right, if the rest of you want some pickup lines, you just fucking let me know. All right, I got some for Germans. Where's the German? Where's fucking Chad? Chad, we got pickup lines for you, brother. Like, German pickup lines are so easy, though. You just, like, talk about, like, bratwurst and shit. Like, it's too easy. Like, do you want some fucking bratwurst? Like, this is too easy. So that almost doesn't count. I'm sure that's what Chad's literally saying. Actually, as a German, yeah, Brandon, you're German too. But as a German, you probably just literally walk up and be like, hello, do you want the sex? And I know that was more like an Austrian accent, but whatever. I can't do German. You walk up, you're like, do you want the sex? And she's like, yes, I do want the sex. And you're like, okay, we will go on a date. Yes, very good. And she's like, yeah, very good. Ja, very good. I can't do a German accent, forgive me. And then you go on the date and you're like, you are looking very pretty today. And she's like, yeah, you are looking very handsome. I know I'm literally doing an Austrian accent right now. And then you're like, we are going back to the apartment, yes. And then she's like, yes, we are going back to the apartment for sex, yes. And then the barman's like, oh, you are leaving, yes. And you're like, yes, we are leaving for the sex. Yeah, as Chad says, you like the anal, yes. And she's like, yes, I do like the anal. We will be doing the anal, but we will go on one date first. And you're like, very good, we will go on one date. How long will this date be? And then she's like, the date will be lasting 1 hour, 47 minutes. And you're like, yeah, this is good. This is enough time. And then you go on your date and then you go back and you have sex. And during the sex, like you're having the sex and you're like, this is the good sex, yes? And she's like, this is the great sex, yes? You are having a good time. I am having a very good time. You joke, but like that is like literally the German women that I've slept with. That's what it's like. And like the German clients, like male clients that I've worked with, that is like literally what it's like. They're the easiest people to work with honesty. Cause you're just like, hey, be honest. And they're like, yeah, I was going to. I'm German. And you're like, oh, good, cool. Like, great. All right. And if they're nervous, they're like, hey, I'm a little bit nervous about this. What do I say? And it's like, well, what do you want to say? And then they just fucking go and say that. Like, Germans are so fun. Germans are like hilarious people. I love Germans so much, in case it's not clear. Like, I think I love everyone on the planet, but like, goddamn. Germans, fuck me. All right. Let's scroll back up. Chad says, how many gilfs are there even around? You were talking about gilfs, which is great grandmothers I would love to fornicate with. How many are around? 5. Can we Google this? Gilf is gilf a thing? Great grandmother I'd like to fornicate. Oh, what the fuck? I go to the nursing home and we smashed. Okay, don't check Urban Dictionary. Oh, okay. Do not type gilf into Google image search. It just immediately comes up with nudes. I was going to look at this on the stream with you guys. Like, I thought maybe it would just show like fully clothed. How do I do non-nude? Put blur filter on. Put filter on. When I search for great grandmother I'd like to fornicate with, it comes up with the Queen, like the British Queen. God rest her soul. Yeah, some of these women. I know this is like me just doing my own thing and ignoring all of you right now, but like, yeah, some of these ladies can slay. Yeah, I'd get in on that action. I feel like we would have a beautiful time together. That's how I'll phrase it. Oh, who's this lady? Helen Mirren. Woman, you've been putting some effort into your body. Damn, woman. God damn, maybe I will show her. Like, she's a famous actress that a lot of you might know. That, she's put in effort. How old is she? These are terrible pictures, paparazzi pictures. We're objectifying sweet old grandmothers right now. There you go. Yeah, she's put in work. Damn. Damn. If she's a great grandmother, I'm not sure if she is. There you go. That's beautiful. I tell you my other. Here's my other pick, and this is blasphemy what I'm doing here, but this is a joke. Byron Katie, my beautiful. I love Byron Katie too much. I can't make sexual jokes about her. I love her. But yeah, Framebite, you go on to say one downside. So I'm assuming you mean one downside of focusing on sex a lot is that I became kind of a sex addict for a while, and my studies and career really took a hit. So give us 3 reasons why that's a beautiful thing. You know, it's very easy to say, this is a downside, this was bad. Andy, went through a period of, you could probably just say sex addiction for sure. And what that taught me is like, sex itself is not going to make me happy. It's the appreciation of it. It's the connection with other human beings. Sex to just get a notch count is almost like an addiction at that point. And it was for me. And that wasn't fun. And now I learned that. And that was a beautiful thing because now I can share that with all of you. And so, yeah, these things that we're often tempted to say were bad or like, man, that really sucked. That was a downside. It's like, maybe it was a learning lesson. Like maybe because you went through a period of sex addiction for a while, now you realize how important your studies and your career and other things are to you. They're very important to you. Maybe this will help you form a deeper connection with women in the future because you go, yeah, I tried that just like obsessing about sex thing. It didn't really make me happy. Maybe I can build connections with this woman. I'll put more effort into building something deeper. I'll put more effort into appreciating what I've got instead of just constantly looking for the next lay or the next thing. So it can be a beautiful thing. You probably already know that, but it's fun to play around with these concepts of like, can this be a good thing? This thing I'm tempted to say is bad. Expert cheek clapper. You say, I just picked my first lock. That's my small win of the day. That's amazing. So for everybody listening, expert cheek clapper bought a lock picking kit and is teaching himself to lock pick. I did that for a while as well. I got very into that stuff. And if any of you are like lock picking, what are you talking about, bro? Like how could that be fun? Let me introduce you to, if you've never heard of it, the lock picking lawyer. Hello, lock picking lawyer here. This is like one of my favorite channels on YouTube with 4.5 million subscribers. Yes, I shit you not. Literally a channel where all he does is like pick locks, but it's so unbelievably, I don't know why it's so addictive, but it's so unbelievably great to watch. And he just picks different locks. And people send him padlocks and they're like, this one's impossible to unlock. And then he unlocks it in like 10 seconds. He's like a god at lock picking. And there's other channels that have collaborated with him. Like one of my favorite ones is Stuff Made Here, who's a channel, like he's an engineer that a lot of you nerds would love. This guy here. And he literally made this lock here, where he tried to make an unpickable lock and he sent it to that lock picking lawyer guy. Actually, he made 2 of them. But yeah, I love this shit. I love lock picking. It's like so cool. It's funny how like the internet has brought us so many weird niches that so many people don't know exist. Like if I go out and tell random people on the street, hey, did you know there's a lock picking channel where a guy just like picks locks? And they'll be like, oh yeah, like must be like an educational channel, right? For you to learn how to do it. And it's like, no, like it's an entertainment channel. And most people would be like, no one would watch that. And you're like, he has 4.5 million subscribers. And then they'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I love finding out. Guys and girls, if you feel like it, type in the chat maybe like weird niches that you watch that like the average person would have no idea exists. I have another one, a guy called Brandon Shepherd, who literally just makes logos, like graphic design, and he makes logos. Like that's one of my other favorite ones. I love Marco, a guy who gets sneakers and then redesigns them and like draws on them and stuff like that. I watch a lot of like coding channels, but that's not that weird or niche. Like, do you guys or girls have any channels that you watch? Like go through your YouTube subscriptions right now and just have a quick flick or TikTok or Instagram or whatever? Is there anyone that you're following? Or is there some niche that you're into that the average person doesn't even know exists? Like, I think the average person wouldn't know that lockpicking is going to have millions of people that watch it for entertainment. So share your weird niches that you know about or you're into. You say King Jong-gi. Who is this? All right, what is this? Maybe I'll say when you share them, like, tell us what the niche is. Kim Jong-gi. Is this that weird though, man? Because it's like an artist. I don't, that's not quite what I'm talking about. As I look through his stuff, this is like God tier stuff. Wow, this is like really cool. I'm more talking, like, I think people would hear that and be like, yeah, like artists, and that's a niche I know about. So I'm saying more specifically, like a niche that someone would go, what the fuck? I didn't know that was a niche. Like ASMR, before that got mainstream, I know we all know what ASMR is now, but when I first heard about ASMR, I was like, who the fuck would want to hear people like making weird sounds with their lips and like eating and stuff? Like, here's mukbang. If any of you know what mukbang is, or like competitive eating, but not for competitions, like just people that like binge eat on camera. Like that is a niche that I wouldn't have thought about. Still not quite a niche. Like, I agree with you. This sounds amazing. Like, I'm looking at his stuff. His stuff's God tier. But I want to hear like wild out there shit. Like maybe some niche that you follow that's like, I didn't know that was a thing. People know that like drawing as an artist is a thing. And even like without drawing sketches or perspective lines, plenty of people do that. So I want to hear like weird, crazy niches that you guys have discovered. Speed running is one, for instance. I know speed running, like video games, is a lot more mainstream now, but years ago, if I go out and tell the average mum or dad or the average person on the street, hey, did you know that people not only try and pass video games as quickly as they can, but they will grind away at one game for like months or years at a time, and there's entire leaderboards and competition, and then there is a charity where people meet, and every year they make like literally $3 million. More than that, because they have two of them a year. So they make like $5 million for charity, and it's called Games Done Quick. And they literally have an event for an entire week, and they all speed run video games and try and pass them as quick as they can for video games, and they make millions of dollars of for charity. If I tell that to the average person, even some of you will be like, wait, what? Is that a thing? It's like, yeah, it's called Games Done Quick. Go look it up. It's fucking insane. So that's a niche that I think lots of people wouldn't have heard of. All right, let's keep reading through your questions and all of that. Framebite says, I didn't really participate in these live streams because the questions that were asked were geared towards beginners. Yeah, I feel like that too sometimes on these live streams. Like lots of the questions are beginners, which I enjoy asking. But I guess if anyone else has questions that are all more towards advanced stuff, like Framebite, if you have questions, like how do I build the strongest relationship I can with a girlfriend? Or how do I be more happy and stable? How do I start a business? How do I build a business? Hey, Andy, I'm already in a business. I'm earning $20,000 a month. How do I take that to $40,000 a month? Like, I'm very happy to answer more advanced questions, and I would prefer them because I'm sure you all can imagine answering beginner questions. They're the questions you get the most often because the vast majority of people are beginners. And so you just naturally hear beginner questions more and more and more. There aren't a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, I'm earning 20K a month. How do I take it to 40K a month? Or, hey, I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for like 5 years. What are some things we can do to make it deeper? And I get clients like that. And those are my favorite ones to work with because it's something new. It's a fun challenge. It's really exciting. So yeah, I'm sure you can imagine a lot of the questions are very beginner questions just because most people are beginners. And yes, after answering the same question the 10,000th time, yes, there is a little part of my brain that's like, all right, take a deep breath, Andy, and answer this question again. Like, especially because all the beginner questions are questions I've already done content on. That's why you'll hear me with basically every single one of your questions. I'll pull something up on stream and I'll be like, hey, watch this video. Hey, read this article. Because yes, I have answered basically every beginner question. And almost every beginner question is answered by saying, everything's okay. It'll all be okay. Go take more action. I promise this will sort itself out. Like that's basically the answer to every beginner question. And to be clear, I still enjoy answering all your questions. I just, yes, really enjoy the more advanced questions much more. Mortis, you say, if this person knew what I knew, then they wouldn't have to suffer. Yes, literally. as Buddhism says, all suffering is ignorance. Byron Katie says all suffering is confusion. There's other people that have said we suffer because we don't understand. Like if you just don't understand something, then yeah, you suffer. But if I can literally sit you down and explain why it's happening, what the purpose is, how it can benefit you, how this could potentially be a good thing, how long it will last and when it's going to be over, like roughly when it will be over, and how you can speed that process up and feel okay right now. And if I can show you that you don't have to suffer, here's some solutions, all the suffering fucking goes away. You're still feeling literally exactly the same emotions. You still have the same stimulus. I'm still feeling the same pain. I'm just now not suffering. Like pain and suffering don't have to go together. It's just that most people think they're the same thing. Most people think if I'm feeling some discomfort, I have to suffer. If I'm feeling some pain, I have to suffer. If I don't get what I want, I have to suffer. But yes, when you start to understand, then you don't suffer as much. Like that is my mission here, is to help you all understand and give you strategies and action and tell you what to do, you know, or encourage you to figure out what to do for yourself. But like, you get what I mean? And then you don't feel as much suffering. Yeah. Expert cheek clapper with the pickup lines, my friend. Maybe we can share some cheesy pickup lines. Are you a transformer? Because damn, your Optimus fine. Yeah, girl. And then she's like, whoa, damn. Did it hurt? And you're like, what do you mean? Did what hurt? And she's like, when you fell from heaven, did it hurt? And you're like, damn, girl, like we should get together. Hey, and she's like, no, thanks, I have a boyfriend. Then she walks off. So yeah. Framebite. Yeah, I know. Yes, Framebite. But we're having fun. We're having fun, man. But yes, I know. It's funny you say this. A couple of days ago, like a week or two ago, there was a few discussions that got a little bit caught up in like argumentative and, you know, focusing on the news and focusing on just arguing with me. There was one person that was sort of arguing with me and saying, I don't like the way you talk, Andy. I don't like the way you phrase things, like quite a few times repeated. And yes, like the point of these coaching or these live streams is to give free coaching, which yes, costs a fair amount of money. Like that's what these streams are for, is like, if you don't have access to me and you just can't afford, look, if you honestly say, I can't afford even $200, which some people can't, brilliant. Use these streams for that. But yes, I agree with you. I know you're making a joke here, but yes, like sometimes I have gently come in and said, hey, come on, like use these as a live stream for coaching. Like don't just complain and sit there and moan and bitch and all of that. Like let's focus on using this as coaching. And to be clear, I'm really enjoying these live streams and I love the discussions about gilfs and stuff like that. It's fine. Like I'm happy to talk about whatever. If a live stream ever went massively off topic and we were just like kind of hanging out and shooting the shit, as much as I love all of you, this is going to sound like a funny thing. I'm not here to just hang out and shoot the shit, especially not when my friend is here. Like my friend Timo is here. He's gone out to a cat. I'd rather hang out with him and shoot the shit. Like that might sound like I'm saying I don't want to hang out with you guys and shoot the shit. I do. I just want these things to be like most about questions and coaching and stuff, which they have been. They have been. To be clear, we literally only had one live stream where I stepped in and said, hey, let's stop bitching and complaining about me when I'm trying to coach you all. Like, let's focus on action. So yeah, these streams have been great, to be very clear. And I love hanging out with all of you. And I think we've done a great job of making them mostly about self-improvement. I think we've had a nice balance of like a little bit of jokes and being silly, but also then working on the stuff that we want to work on. Rishavs, Andy, I'm curious about your experience with Indian client slow. Listen, you beautiful human being who is secretly racist and doesn't even realize it. And I'm half joking and half serious when I say that. Working with Indian clients is literally no different from working with any other human being or race or gender. There are some slight variations and slight things that we tweak, but it is literally the same. And the reason that I joke about the racism thing, I'm not saying that you are racist towards other people, but we all have our own in-group and our own inbuilt thing that says like, all right, Indian people, I understand them because I'm Indian. I get the culture. And we do the same with men and women. We go, okay, men must be way different to coaching women, right? It must be way different. It's like, no, why would it be different? They're both human beings. They both want the same things. I want to be understood and to understand. I want to be loved and I want to be happy. That's what every human being on the planet wants. Like the race, the gender, none of that really matters. And I was joking, to be clear. You're not racist, dude, but like, I was just being silly. But yeah, there's like literally no difference. What is my experience like with Indian clients? Exactly the same. Like this, I'm going to say the fucking cliche thing that people say. I literally don't see race, and not like, wow, so brave of you, so stunning and brave. Wow, he doesn't see race anyone. He doesn't see gender. He just sees all humans as the same. No, I'm just busy focused on getting to work. Someone comes to me and says, here's what I want. I'm like, let's get down to work. Let's do it. I'm not going like, all right, well, as an Indian, it's going to be wet. And if they say to me, hey, as an Indian, here are my struggles, I'm like, sweet, thanks for telling me your struggles. Let's get to work. Let's work on that. Same with guys that are like, I'm extra short. I'm 5'4". I'm like, fucking sweet, bro. Let's work on that. Let's do it. What do we got to do? And then we work on it. So yeah, like someone being Indian is something that I'll maybe think about for 10 seconds. Or if they tell me, here are the unique struggles of being an Indian, I'll be like, brilliant. And here's 50 million other people from different countries who struggle with the exact same thing. So you're really not that different. Basically, the point of my coaching and my content is to show you that you're not that special. We walk around with this identity that we're special because of our race, or we're specially fucked up, or we're going to have unique struggles and difficulties. And those things might exist, but there are so many more similarities between humans and genders and races than differences. And if I sit there nitpicking every single fucking difference and go, well, as a woman, you're going to have to do this differently. And as an Indian, you're going to have to do this differently. You just feel ostracized and special. And then the advice that I give, you say that it doesn't apply to you. Like, Rishabh, you're not doing this. I'm not saying that you're doing this, but I'm saying other people in the past have. And so I've just learned over time, all right, everyone's a human. Let's get to work. They might have their own unique struggles that might come as a product of culture. Like, yes, obviously. Indian people might have unique struggles that other people might not have, but they still have that struggle. It's just got a different flavor to it. So I like to see race and culture and the country you grew up in and your gender and your age and your height and all of that as like a flavor, like a spice that's added on top that might slightly change the flavor, but the meal underneath is exactly the same. Like, we're all just a bowl of rice. Ladies and gentlemen, every person on this planet is a fucking bowl of rice. We're all exactly the same. And then we sprinkle a different flavor on the top. So yeah, that's my non-answer to your question. My experience is great. My experience is great with Indian clients. And my experience is great with Germans. My experience is great with Americans, Canadians, Australians, people from New Zealand, New Zealanders. Who else have I worked with? Serbians, Polish people, Finnish people, Dutch people. I just basically any country you can pick. Africans. Like actually in Africa, African Americans, obviously, like just any Asians, forgot that one, a bunch of different Asian countries, a bunch of Indian people. Yeah, the experience is the same for everyone. They're all a bunch of humans trying to do their best. They all struggle with stuff, and I help them through that. So like literally, I can't give you an answer as like what Indians have been like, and it would be a weird answer to give. It would, yeah, there's no answer there. Helen Mirren is a top tier gilf. Yeah. You say Jennifer Aniston is super hot at this age. Is she? How old is she? Yeah, lots of ladies putting a lot of effort into their appearance for sure. How old is Jennifer Aniston? 55. Wow, she's doing fabulous. Wow. Damn, girl, you slay. Slay, girl. Holy smokes. Really? Yeah, okay, she doesn't look 55. Good effort. Well done. Good effort, Mrs. Jennifer Aniston. Well done. Not that she needs my approval, but there you go. You got it. Great. Cameron Diaz, yeah. Great. Lots of people. Tons of men, too. Like, tons of men that are just, like, absolutely fucking crushing it in their 60s, which is, like, really nice inspiration because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to go down when I get old. It's like, you don't have to, though. You can still work on yourself. Brandon, all right, so I asked all of you, like, what are some weird rabbit holes that you didn't know about? First Amendment audits. What is this? Oh, no, wait, I think I know what this is, where they're like, yeah, I think I know what this is. I think I know what you're talking about. Is this where they, like, maybe I'm wrong, but is this where they watch videos of people, like, no, what is this, Brandon? I don't know what this is. What in the shit is this? First Amendment audits. Is this where they check cops? Okay, no, I have seen this. I do know what this is, yeah. I went down a rabbit hole where I watched a lot of this stuff, and then at some point it was definitely negatively affecting my psyche, so I turned it off. But yeah, this is a great shout out for like a niche that most people would not know is a thing. Good shout out, brother. Really good shout out. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's funny how there's all these crazy weird niches that people just don't know exist. Like, and then when you go into, you tell other people about it and they're like, what the hell? How is this a thing? Like, how is this a thing? Book binding. Is that a niche? Book binding. What are they doing? What are they binding? What is this? Damn, dude, you're right. Some of these channels are like big. What, I guess I could be showing this on stream, couldn't I? So I'm not just having a conversation without you guys there. Book binding. Damn, bro, what the fuck? Okay, good shout out. This is a good niche. Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing. Like, I knew people made books, I guess. Yeah, it's crazy how some, that looks fucking cool. It's crazy how some of these like niches are so much bigger than you think. Like that one has 100,000. There was one up here that had like 230,000. Yeah, dude, good shout out. That's cool. That's a cool shout out. So you enjoy watching that? That's fucking cool, bro. Some of this is really cool. Like, damn, look at this one. Look at this one here. Oh, you can't see. Damn it. What did I do? There you go. Yeah, this is cool, dude. This is cool. Thanks for showing that. I like that. Speed running. Yeah, you already mentioned that. Yeah, speed running. I think if you guys like don't know that speed running is a thing, like playing a video game very quick. Like this one has 3 million subscribers. Summoning Salt. I know you can't see the subscriber count because I disabled that on lots of channels. But that's got millions of subscribers. Carl Jobs has millions of subscribers. There's so many like speed running channels that just have like millions of subscribers. That's a good shout. Chinese fabric acrobatics. Yeah, but is that like what they do at the circus? Is that the same thing? Acrobatics. Why did I struggle to type that word? Okay. So specifically Chinese. Interesting. Like interesting you've mentioned Chinese. Are they just like really good at it? Damn, this is cool. Actually, let's turn this off so I can see the subscriber count. I want to see the subscriber count for these people. I've mentioned this before. I disable subscriber counts and view counts because I found myself comparing to a lot of channels. And so a lot of this stuff on social media, if you find yourself comparing to other people, there's ways to hide view counts and stuff like that so you're not comparing as much. But yeah, damn, this is an interesting niche. What a cool niche. Yeah, I like it. Rishav, further on the question, you give a little bit more about the Indian thing. Like the cultural differences, the mindset is different. It's not. It's human beings who want to be happy, who want to improve their life, and they might have certain challenges where they are, but you are so focused right now. You don't realize it, but you're so focused on the differences that you're not looking at the similarities. Like I literally change nothing when I work with Indian people. They think I need to change everything. That's why I said like lots of people walk around with a secret racism or a secret, like my race is different. It's not racism. It's like my race is different. And lots of the Indian people I've worked with, yes, they go like, but I have unique challenges in my country, dude, but it's like way different to the West. And I'm like, it's fucking not. Like, it's just not. Like, it's really, really, really not. The differences are like, I might need to go on a date with some women for 3 dates before they sleep with me instead of 1. I might need to be more upfront and honest about the fact that I want casual sex, if that's what you want. And there might be lots of women that are not into that. So I'm going to have to screen a little bit harder. Like, that's the differences. But like, that's not much of a difference. You have more in common, like I promise. Framebite, you say, how do you find emotionally stable and mature people? By screening for it. You say, most of the women that I've met through BDSM had some issues and trauma. So great question. Issues and trauma doesn't have to mean emotionally unstable and mental, like, or immature, sorry. I think you probably know that. But what I look for, because yes, you are correct. Like, I think it's a fair statement to say lots of BDSM and kink can come with people that are into it for abusive reasons, like self-abuse. They almost don't know, or they don't believe that they're worthy or lovable. And so they almost seek out someone that will be a little bit more aggressive or rough during sex. And so, yes, I agree with you. Lots of people in BDSM and kink are in there because they don't fully have strong self-esteem. Yes, like that's my experience too. But if someone is working on their mental health and their happiness, and so maybe they have some trauma, but they're very honest and upfront about it. They're working through it. They're not using it as an excuse. They're not saying, I'm neurodivergent. Isn't that funny? Ha ha ha. Look how quirky and weird I am. Aren't I different? Like, they're not just using it. They are literally saying, yeah, look, I went through some stuff. I'm trying to work on it. I'm owning my stuff. I'm working towards being peaceful and happy. I date those people. And so I'm looking more for people that are self-aware. And to me, that is a sign of maturity and emotional stability. To be very clear, every human being on the planet struggles with mental health issues at times. Like, I think you probably know that. And I do know what you're asking in this question. I get exactly what you're saying. You're basically saying, how do I screen a little better? But part of that is slowing down the process. I don't know what you're doing right now, like in terms of your dating dynamics, but I went through exactly what you're talking about. So did Imi. Like, Imi and I went through this, literally this question that you're asking. We went through this, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And so what we chose to do, and Cam, you know, my assistant coach, and Taylor, one of the other coaches in my program, and even Ed has done this to some extent, we all decided, okay, let's stop having sex on the first date. You just don't have enough time to see if someone's emotionally stable or mature. And you can even slow that down further if you want to. And you can have sex on like the third or fourth date. Like, and then you'll find the people that want to stick around. Because yes, if you wait till date 3, and I would be honest and upfront about that. Like, I literally tell people that Imi and I meet. Before we meet, I literally say, by the way, we don't do anything sexual on the first date. We literally just meet up, see if we all like each other, blah, blah, blah. We save the sexual stuff for the second or the third time. Like, I'm upfront about that. And some people will see us for a first date and then fall off. Like, they don't see us. Or they will just say, maybe not. I'm looking for something a bit more casual and carefree. And so that's a really good way to screen out immediately the people that maybe aren't, I won't say emotionally stable, but like, it is a sign of stability and maturity, I guess you would say. That's a big judgment call, but I think you get what I'm saying. If you're willing to wait till like date 3, if a woman is willing to wait till like date 3 to have sex with you, then she's probably willing to stick around a little bit. She's probably like not making this decision out of like impulsivity or emotionality or any of that. So that's like being a game changer for us. Just like slow down the dating process. On the first date, like just kiss at the absolute most. Maybe hold hands, have a cuddle, kiss at the most. Don't go back to your place. Don't go back to her place. The second date, go back to your place and maybe make out a little bit and play with each other's body and genitals and shit like that. But don't have like penetrative sex and don't do too much BDSM. Just like keep it fucking chill and like be upfront about that. Like literally say that this is what we're going to do if we meet for the second date. We'll just fool around a bit, but I like to save the actual hardcore sex for the third time. And then the third time, slowly get into BDSM. So basically slow this down and you'll have more of a chance to find the people that are a little bit more what you're looking for, like a bit more mature and stable. This is just a generality, but older, this is such a generality, but like the older someone is, generally speaking, the more stable and mature they are. Like that goes without saying, and that is a generalization. There are lots of exceptions to that. Imi was quite mature actually at 18, and I have met quite a lot of 25-year-old women that are maybe not super mature or stable or healthy or whatever word you want to use. But generally speaking, but yeah, this is just a screening process too. Like I'd say slowing it down is the main thing that'll benefit you because you'll just give yourself more of an opportunity to say like, all right, I think this person is what I'm looking for. Like a lot of guys, especially in the kink scene and BDSM, a lot of people are just having sex on the first or second date and then going, damn, how come we're not a great fit? And it's like, well, because you just didn't really get to know each other. Like it was basically random luck at that point, whether or not you two were a good fit. And so slow it down a bit, be more intentional with who you're meeting and come up with a list of green flags. Like that is your question here. Your question is like, how do I know what green flags to look for? You know, lots of people focus on red flags, don't they? But you, my friend, are already far enough along to be like, no, I'm going to focus on green flags, what I want. So check out this video if you haven't already. It's on my channel. Just search for green flags. And I come up with a lot of my own green flags and what I care about. Like, is she into self-improvement? Does she love herself? Is she generally a positive person? Like these are all ways to screen for what you're talking about, dude. Like you're basically screening for mental health with those things. Like what I just said, are they open-minded and like not that judgmental? Are they generally positive? Does she like herself? Like you can just straight up ask her, like be like, what do you think about yourself? And like, there's no right answer here. I'm just very like curious. What do you think about yourself? Like, do you like yourself? And if she's like, not really, then like, you can still date that person. But if she's like, yeah, I do. I'm not always perfect with that, but yeah, I think I like myself for the most part. I try to. And it's like, that's a fucking brilliant answer. So yeah, you can screen for other things like, is she low drama? You can just ask with some of these things. You can just be like, how do you feel about drama? Like just be honest with this stuff. You don't have to use some technique to try and like read into someone's mind. You can literally just ask them. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're independent, or do you feel like that's something you're still working on? Like, yeah, just start asking for the things you want. There's also an app that you can use that'll probably help you with this, actually, man. Um, like basically, if you listen to everything I'm saying to you, I'm encouraging you to be a little bit more deep and intentional with the questions that you're asking on dates. Like you're saying, how do I find women that are emotionally healthy and stable and mature? You just say, like, how do you feel you are with your emotional stability and maturity? And most people will give you an answer. Like they'll give you a pretty decent answer. But you can also use this app. It's an app called Party Cues, and you can get it on Android and iPhone. They have a free version, but I have the paid version as well. And it has a whole bunch of categories. You can see they're like different categories of like questions you can ask. And if you scroll, there's like even more. And some of the questions on here are like deep questions. There's even questions for like dating and stuff like that. Go through and you can click like the star icon on a bunch of questions that you like. And then you can sort through those and just on a date, literally be like, hey, let's play this fun little game. It's called Party Cues. There's a bunch of cool questions we can ask each other. And like, you know, you can ask some of these questions. Like there's some about like self-improvement and self-love. And those would be the questions I'd be asking. There's some about mental health and happiness and peace and love and all of that. I'd be asking those questions on dates. I pull that app out a lot on dates. And I go, hey, let's mess around with this and ask some deep questions. There's some silly, easy to answer questions in there too. It's like a really useful app for talking about this stuff on dates. But yeah, I would pull that stuff out. I think that'll help. I mean, maybe you know what I'm going to say to this question. You say, on the other hand, with vanilla girls, like girls that are not so into kink and BDSM, I come off as too confident and a fuckboy. Wrong. Some of these women think that. Go find the women who don't think that. You're going to say, how do I indirectly communicate? Why are you indirectly communicating anything, my friend? You're really far along. And so I'll push back on this a little bit because you're not a beginner. You specifically said, I'm not a beginner. Why are you asking a beginner question? And I'm making a joke there, brother, but like you're asking a beginner question, bro. How do I essentially lie to this woman? Or it's not lying, but like, how do I play fucking games with this woman and try to indirectly communicate? Like, what do you do? Do you fucking like shake your ass at her or something? I don't fucking know, bro. Like, do you leave clues around like we're playing a fucking Cluedo game or something? Like, you just leave a little hint around, like, I want a relationship. You just leave that on a sticky note in your bedroom or something. You have like a whiteboard with all your goals on it, and on that goal list you write long-term goal, get into a relationship, and then you just make sure she can say that. And then like she's like standing in your kitchen, she's not quite looking at the whiteboard, and then you just go, oh, and you yawn and you kind of like point at the whiteboard, and you're like, oh, and then she looks at the whiteboard. And she's like, oh, goals. Oh, cool. And you're like, yeah. Oh, did you see my goals list? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, no. Oh, I forgot I had that there. Yeah. Yeah, read through that if you want to. And she's like, no, it's okay. And you're like, no. Like, read through it. Just read through it. Just tell me what you think. And then she reads through and she's like, oh, relationships. Oh, you want a relationship, do you? And you're like, oh yeah, no, I forgot I had that on there. Yeah, I guess. Oh fuck yeah, you've caught me. I guess. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I guess I do want a relationship. No, bro, you're too advanced with this shit. You say radical honesty doesn't really work from the start for me. Then you don't have to say it from the start, but say it at some point. But if you came onto this channel saying honesty doesn't work for me from the start, can you please tell me a way to fuck around? My answer is always going to be no. I'm not answering that question. Like honesty. Honesty is the only answer I am ever going to give to any of you ever. I am going to caveat that with, if you're scared to be honest from the start, which is essentially what you've said here. You said, I'm scared of being honest from the start, or I'm hesitant. I don't want to be honest from the start. Fine. You don't have to be. But like, I'm never going to encourage you to indirectly communicate something ever. Like that is just not ever the answer you're going to hear from me. You're all very welcome to ask the question. I'm not going to judge you or think less of you for that. Do whatever you want. Like, it's your life. You're going to do whatever you want anyway. But I am never going to be the person who's like play games and indirectly communicate something. That's just not me. And if that's what you're wanting to hear from me, I'm never going to give that. Like, you're going to be unsatisfied with that answer. I'm never, ever, ever going to encourage any of you to indirectly communicate something to anyone, ever. I don't judge you if you do that. I don't judge other clients and, other coaches that do that. You're just never going to hear me say that ever. And if you're in my coaching program or something and you're like, hey, how do I indirectly? Literally everyone else in the coaching group, all the other clients, all the other coaches would gently say, why are you so scared to just say it? Like, why do you need to indirectly say something? Like, they would gently guide you towards just saying it. Again, if you're saying, I don't want to say that from the start, fair enough, bro. Like, say it whenever you want. Whenever you're comfortable, say it. It's not a bad thing if you wait a little bit, especially if you're talking about relationships. But no, I'd rather just be fucking upfront and honest. That's always going to be my answer. And nothing bad happens if you're upfront and honest. You probably just have a really small sample size. And you're in the intermediate position where you've clearly had some sexual experience. You've had a threesome. You've got some experience. But you haven't had a lot of experience with radical honesty. And for you to say radical honesty doesn't really work from the start for me, I don't believe that. Like, I would just straight up say, I don't believe that. Have you been radically honest with 500 women from the very start? No. Go do that and tell me what happens. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But like, that's my answer to you. Chad, hilarious joke there. Brandon, is it possible to achieve the peace that you now have at my age? Is it possible for any human being? Yes. Is it possible for you? I don't know. Like, but why do you care about doing what I've done at your age? Your only mission is to look at yourself and look forward and say, what do I want to work on? Let me move towards the person I want to be, a little step at a time. Like, don't compare yourself to me, man, because that isn't fair. Like, I've been working on self-improvement for the better part of like 20 years almost. Like, it's just not a fair comparison. Is it possible for someone your age to be peaceful? Yes, of course. Are you peaceful right now? No. Well, then, like you are. That's not true. You are quite peaceful at times, but like, are you as peaceful as you want to be? No. Then just improve that. Like, there are people around you that are super peaceful at your age. There are people around you that are living a living hell nightmare every single second of being alive at your age. But none of that matters, man. It's just like, can you be more peaceful? Yeah. And you say, you've had more time than me, so I'm unsure how I could be at your level now. Yeah, see? So maybe that's not even rational or reasonable. But it doesn't matter what someone else has done, man. There'll always be someone that's more peaceful than you at your age. Your only mission is to just improve at your peace, dude. Vlad. Hey, mate. Hello, my friend. Been going out the past few nights, finally after a year from being a hermit. But since the passing of my grandmother, carrying that grief when I go out has been a heavy weight. I would turn towards that grief, man. And be gentle with this process. You know, grief can be something that brings up a lot of emotions, other than grief, obviously. But be gentle with it, man. Maybe you can sort of have a little bit of a cry every day. Like, spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes crying. And then if that gets too much, that's okay. I did my 10 minutes of grieving and crying, and now I'll go live my life. You can also sit there and get out a big piece of paper or something and write down every single beautiful thing about your grandmother. What she gave you, how she was nice to you, how you've changed because of her. And through doing this, you'll realize, oh, I still carry around a piece of my grandmother, maybe a huge piece of her. Maybe she is never going to like die in my heart, so to speak. Like, I'm always going to remember her. Like, I'm grateful for her. I'll never forget her. I'm really glad she was here. And I'm grateful for everything she gave me. But yeah, be gentle with this stuff, man. Like, I understand grief and I understand it very well, believe me. So just be gentle with yourself, dude. Like, yeah. And in those times when you go out and like you don't really feel like going out, like you're just sad, it's okay to be sad, bro. Like, you're allowed to just sit at home and cry if that's what would benefit you, if that's what you want to do. Like, you're allowed to sit around and think about your grandmother and cry and then remember the good times and remember how much you miss her. Like, that grief is a sign that she really meant something to you. If she didn't, you'd just be like, oh yeah, my grandmother died. Yeah, the funeral was a bit sad. It's all good. Like, the fact that you're this full of grief and you have this heavy weight, you can kind of turn that around and realize the flip side of that is she obviously meant a lot to you, man. And that's beautiful. I'm really glad that you had her in your life. I'm really glad that you still have her in your heart and you still have the memories. I'm really, really, really glad she existed. And I'm glad she got to be in your life, man. I'm really happy to hear that. You say, how can I get past that hurdle and just make the move of just being able to say hi to a girl? Have you... Well, I mean, first of all, everything I just said will probably help. Like, you know, feel the grief, man. Like, maybe right now you're just like, I'm trying to talk to girls, but I miss my grandmother. Like, go up to girls and be like, hi, I miss my grandmother, like, and talk to them about it. Fuck, man. But process the grief and like work through that bit. But then after you've done that, you can, or maybe while you're doing that, you don't have to wait. But you can work on this, dude, if you haven't already seen this. So if you go to my website, I think I did a YouTube video about this too. If you just search on my YouTube channel for approach anxiety, or go to killyourandaloser.com and just search for the word approach anxiety, and check out this program. And so you're right now saying, I'm struggling to say hi to a girl. Okay, then do this program. Like, the bit about saying hi is here. So, or technically it's also down there. So if you can't even hit on a woman or you can't even say hi, then do the steps before it. Give yourself permission to suck. It's okay if you can't do this. Like at first, most people on the planet cannot. You build up to it. You work up your capacity to be able to approach people. So you go outside or you go out at clubs or whatever you're doing. Sit there or stand there for as many hours or minutes as you possibly can and just think about talking to them. Like every woman that you see in this club, just imagine what you'd say to her. Imagine what it would be like to say hi. Imagine what it might be like to say some small talk. Imagine what it might be like if she's excited and she says, oh, I like you too. I'd love to give you my phone number. Like play that out in your head. And at any point you're allowed to actually go and say hi to her. But if you can't, that's okay. Just keep going out and thinking about it. Like you're giving yourself exposure therapy. This is something a lot of therapists will literally get people to do when they have a big fear. They will get them to play out their fear in their head. They will literally role play it with them and say, okay, let's pretend right now that you're doing the thing that scares you. And then they literally just pretend in their mind. And they do that for 10 minutes. And they're like, okay, that was enough. I'm too scared. Can we stop? And they're like, good job. You just role played it for 10 minutes or you thought about it in your head for 10 minutes. I promise that does get you closer to actually doing it. So if you really right now struggle to say hi, you don't have to use motivation, which is your question. You're like, how can I force myself? Why do you have to force yourself? Do the bare minimum thing that you can do, and you'll slowly build up your work capacity. Like imagine if you went into the gym. People have this weird idea with motivation, especially with approaching and girls and dating. They're like, I should just force myself to do something. Imagine if you went to the gym, first time you've ever been there, and you're like, and you're grieving from your grandmother too. And you're like, I should just force myself to bench press 200 pounds. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You might have to build up to that. And you're like, no, how can I make myself bench press 200 pounds? Like that would be such a ridiculous statement. But when it comes to like social stuff or goals or self-improvement, we're like, I should just force myself, right? And it's like, that would be really insane to do that in the gym. Or imagine this. Imagine you've literally never given a speech, like a public speech in your entire life. And you're like, I should go stand in front of like a room of 2,000 people and give a speech, right? I should just make myself do that. And it's like, I mean, you can if you want to, but that might be a fucking traumatic experience for you, which would ultimately be fine. You'd be okay. But like, why don't you just give a speech to like one person? Why don't you just practice in front of the fucking mirror first and then give a speech to a room of 5 people, then 10, then 20, then 100 and slowly build up? Like, why do you have to do it all at once? So Vlad, if you're in that position where you're like, dude, I'm fucking struggling to say hi, then just build up to it, man. Like build up the work capacity and you'll make it a lot easier. You'll get it done much quicker. Like if you sit there and try and force yourself to talk to a woman, you might do it and that can be great and helpful. And then like most people, you just do that for a week and then you'll fucking quit. You'll go, this is hard. But if I can get you to do my approach anxiety program, like the exposure therapy thing, and you go out for like 3 weeks in a row, just thinking about talking to women, you're just thinking about it while you're out. And then you eventually just say hi to one because you're like, for fuck's sakes, I've done this 3 weeks in a row. I've just thought about talking to them. I may as well say hi. You go say hi. It goes pretty well. Now you build a habit of just saying hi. You don't even hit on them. You're not doing anything crazy. You're just like, hi, how's your night going? You build that into a habit for 3 weeks. And then you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm saying hello to all these women. Why am I missing opportunities? Why don't I just ask them out or tell them they're pretty? And then you start doing it. Like you start to build your confidence and almost that like cocky, confident, arrogant part of you is like, this is bullshit. I could do way more than this. Good. Like it doesn't require motivational force. You're allowing yourself that space to be able to do something quite easily. All right, Framebite. This is a question I love, my brother. I get asked this question quite a lot. How would you start a coaching business if you already have a good career path? I feel like these kind of topics could negatively impact your future prospects if you discuss them in a public space. Wait, I'm confused. What do you mean? Can you explain what you mean by that? Like, are you talking about me personally? me, Andy, these could affect Andy's like future prospects if I discuss them in a public space? Or are you talking about like you yourself, like you're afraid to start doing a coaching business because you feel like the topics could affect your future prospects? Is that what you're saying? I think that's what you're saying, right? It depends what you're coaching people on. If you're coaching people on sex and dating, then yes, some people might judge you for that. But do you really want to live your life in fear of what others will judge you for? Are you really here to play, not to lose? Go grab the Play to Win video course, and I talk about that in general. But you don't have to talk about sex and dating. You can coach people on life and mental health and love and all of that. Like the skills that you, Framebite, have learned in having threesomes and being more upfront and being honest and just relaxing into the process and all of that, those things apply to like business. You could coach people on business. Those things apply to like being a good father or mother. Like the skills are the same. The mindsets that you learn, like everything that's in my Play to Win video course is what I learned from sex and dating and relationships and I guess business as well and coaching and all of that. But lots of that stuff came from sex and dating. But those mindsets, everything that's in the Play to Win video course applies to everything. That's why if you read the Play to Win video course, it's not about sex or dating. It's just mindsets. And so the stuff that you've learned from having sex and working on that, brother, like will absolutely just apply to people in general. So people will come to you for like any random topic, and the stuff that you figured out in learning to have a good sex life, you can just teach them those mindsets. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if I understand your question. Yeah, okay, so you say me, myself, and sharing my experience. Cool, thank you for the clarification. Yeah, like I promise, like it's not that big a deal. Like you probably think if I put myself out there, and look how much I, Andy, have put myself out there. Like my freaking penis is on the internet. Like I put so much stuff out there. Like I'm so out there. I talked about how I went to fucking prison. Like who needs to do a background check on me? I'll just tell you that I went to prison. Like you don't need to do a background check on me. I'll just tell you. Like, and so some people will judge that. Lots of people do. And some people mean like I might not get certain jobs. Cool. Why do I want to work somewhere that doesn't want to work, like doesn't want me to work there? So I get the fears, man. I really do. Like this is something that a lot of people go through. And almost every time I have someone on my channel to share like one of those testimonials at the end of their coaching, a lot of them are terrified of like, man, can I really put my face out there? But I have a job. I work in corporate. Lots of them work in corporate. And for all of them, I say like, only do this if you want to. And if in the future you want me to delete a video, I will. Like, and I've done that once for one person. And you don't have to show your face. And you don't have to have your name there. You can be literally just a disembodied voice that I will never say the name of and no one will know who you are. Or don't do this at all. But lots of them go through all of that and they're like, nah, man, if my job fires me because I was on a fucking sex and dating podcast, I don't want to work for such a judgmental place. Like, what the fuck? Like, because I care about my sex life and dating and I'm honest and upfront about it and I'm honest and kind to all the women, if somewhere was literally like, hey, HR needs to speak to you. You can't work here because you have a penis and you use it. Like, fuck that place. So that's kind of like my mindset, man. I can't tell you what to do. It's entirely up to you. I guess I'm just telling you that it will be a lot more okay than you think it will. Like, you're not doing anything crazy, especially if you're framing things from like an honest, compassionate place, which you seem like that person, bro. Like you seem like that person, but yeah, I promise it'll be okay, man. I promise it will. Expert cheek clapper says, it's weird how long it took me, or how it took me a long time to realize that, yes, that is your penis on your own website, Andy. It's like a weird disconnect. Yeah, it's my pee-pee. And it's Imi's pee-pee and other girls' pee-pee is on my website. Yeah, and in videos and stuff like that. Yeah, that was like very nerve-wracking. I was so scared to do that. So was Imi. And so was like, Bronwyn, the girl that we're dating, and other people that we've done like, and we try and make all the nudes like very artistic. Like they're not quite pornographic, although we've done plenty of pornographic stuff as well. But like all the stuff on the website, we try and make it like artistic and look pretty and all of that. But yeah, it's like very intimidating to do it at first. Rishav, you say, apologies if anyone thought I was being racist. You weren't being racist, man. Like, I know I use that word, but like, it's just because it's like a big word that gets people to stop and pause and think about what they're saying. So maybe that's unfair or unkind. It's not meant to be, but like, yeah, we all secretly, the way our brain works is we look at people of our own culture or our friends group or our own gender or whatever, and we say, okay, these are my people. And then we look at other people of a different skin color or a different gender or whatever, or just people who aren't our friends, and we say they're the other. It doesn't make you racist, bro. Like, Yeah, maybe I can stop using the word racist. And I'm not meaning to call you racist. I'm just trying to, yeah. How about we say this? How about you guys can keep me accountable? This would mean a lot if you did. How about certain words I'll try not to use anymore? I think racist is one of them, because you're not racist, bro. Like, no one's racist. It's just that your brain is literally built to look at people who you think are your tribe and say, these people are safe. And then everyone else who's not in your tribe, you say, all right, they're different to me. That's just how your brain works. It doesn't make you racist. That's why it's funny that lots of people will pull out the racism card and be like, you're a racist. And yeah, I just did that to you, didn't I? And so lots of times people will be like, you're a racist. And it's like, no, but my brain works the same as you. Like, we just have a brain that by default trusts the people that are close to us or look like us or sound like us or have the same gender as us. And then we don't trust other people. It's not good or bad. We can learn to like let go of that. It's just being judgmental, and we learn to let go of the judgment a little bit. So yeah, you're not racist, dude. You say it's, sorry, I already read that, didn't I? All right, let's scroll back up. There's a couple more questions, and then we'll maybe start. How about we start blitzing through the last one of these? So Framebite, you asked a couple more questions. All right, let's blitz through these. Rishav, Andy, in bars, sometimes when I have hit on single girls and then I go to buy them a drink, some other guy starts talking and then doesn't allow me to talk back to her. It's kind of emasculating. You tell a story that it's emasculating. You emasculate yourself. No other guy can emasculate you. You tell a story that he emasculated you, and you emasculate yourself. If you're confident and calm and loving towards yourself, you're like, okay, cool. Like, he's talking to her, cool. I'll go talk to the next girl. But I understand the feeling, man. Like, I get it. Something that can help is everyone in a bar is not yours. Like, just because you're talking to some girl does not mean that you have the right to be the only guy talking to her. I know you know that logically, but then when you come back, you feel all sorts of feelings. But the only reason you feel those feelings is because of the stories that are in your head. You secretly have a story in your head that I was talking to her, she's mine. And so I'd work through that, man. Like, I just slowly work through that and be like, she's mine just because I was talking to her first. Is that true? She should only talk to me. Is that true? Some other guy shouldn't come over and talk to her when I'm busy going to get a drink. Is that true? It's clearly not true because it happens. So what is the reality? It's your idea is clearly not true. But yeah, I just kind of play around with that. You're self-aware enough, man, and intelligent enough to realize, bro, it's my insecurities. So that tells you what to work on. Like, isn't that beautiful that these women and these guys are giving you such a fucking gift, bro? Like, imagine if these guys didn't come over and start talking to the girl that you were talking to. You would never have a chance to work through this insecurity. You'd never have a chance to find peace. These guys are your perfect teachers, bro. They're giving you a beautiful gift. And something that my friend Timor, the guy that's staying with me right now, said recently, like yesterday, about these kind of questions. He was like, I want these guys to feel insecure. Like, what he means is, I don't want this guy to get a girl. And if he was here right now, he'd probably say to you, Rishav, I don't want you to get that girl. Like, you will learn more and you will benefit more from some guy coming over and you feeling insecure. I would rather you, or he would rather you learn that lesson than just get laid and be like, hey, that was easy. Like, if there's insecurities there, that is beautiful work that you can do. Like, and that will work. That will benefit the entire rest of your life. If you work on this insecurity, man, you will be a better father if you choose to have kids one day. You'll be a better husband. You won't be so jealous if like she's talking to some other guy. You won't want to go through your girlfriend's text messages and shit and be jealous if she has male friends. You'll just be like, I'm cool. I'm secure in myself because a bunch of guys came over and talked to the girls that I was talking to and made me feel insecure. And I realized it was all me. And that was what I was going to work on. Like, you can work on your self-love. This is the most beautiful gift that you've been given, bro. And I'm really fucking glad that you are this self-aware and brave enough to admit this to us. But yeah, man, this is beautiful stuff. Really beautiful stuff that you can work on, dude. You're going to say, when I back down, that's what's emasculating, but I don't like confrontation. So you can work on that. There's a book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. You could read that. There's a book, When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. You can work on that. Yeah, there's lots of stuff you can do to work on that. I would give you a better answer if I wasn't tired and about to finish up. So if you want to, you can bring this up tomorrow, dude, and maybe we can have a deeper conversation. But yeah, I'm trying to like rush through all the answers now. Framebite. So in regards to like being upfront and honest, I just mean that you can't blurt things out, the things that you are thinking wrong. You believe you can't blurt things out. A better statement would be, Andy, right now, I don't want to blurt out the things that I'm thinking, but it is a factually incorrect statement to say you can't blurt out the things you're thinking. I'll tell you what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking I'm tired. I'm losing patience. I don't like this question, even though, it's just you asking a question. I want to yell at you right now and just like, because I'm tired, and I want to just be like, fucking believe me, Framebite. I'm judging you right now. I'm thinking that you should just shut up and believe what I'm saying, which is like what we all secretly want for each other, don't we? We want the other person to shut the fuck up and believe me. There's probably even a little part of you that thinks like Andy should just shut up and understand me. I really want to have a drink that's like sitting right here, like my fucking Diet Pepsi. That's what I'm thinking. I just blurted out the things I'm thinking. Was that okay? I just literally told you that I'm judging you, and I'm trying not to, but I literally told you that I'm judging you. I just told you that I think you should just shut up and believe what I believe, which is probably not a kind thing to say, is it? But it's an honest thing. That was me just blurting out what I'm thinking. I do that all the time. I call that autistic honesty. So it's not a correct statement to say you can't blurt the things out. Now, if you say, Andy, I don't want to, brilliant. Now we're talking about honesty and integrity. You're saying, I don't want to. I love that. I want you to do exactly what you want to do. And if you don't want to do something, I don't want you to do something. But own it, man. Don't tell lies, bro. Don't be like, you can't do this. Yes, you fucking can. If you don't want to, own that. Say, I don't want to. Brilliant. I will not judge you for that, but I will jump in if I ever hear any of you telling lies and saying, you can't do this. It won't work. Like, there is this courting period before you get to the deep talks. Wrong. You have an opinion that there is a courting period before you get to the deep talks. You are scared to get to the deep talks. Or maybe you'll say, to be fair, maybe you'll say, I don't want to. I like having a courting period before I get to the deep talks. Fucking brilliant. I love that. I love that. Do what you want. But don't tell lies, bro. We're not here to tell lies. This is a lie. You don't realize it's a lie, but it's a lie. It's based on falsehood. I have evidence that you can just be autistically honest. I have evidence that you can have deep talks. I have a coaching client in my group who went on a date with this Japanese girl that he cold approached. And the very first date, he said, can I kiss you? And she said, no. And then he asked her again, like half an hour later, can I kiss you? And she said, no. And she was kind of a bit weird about it. And so if he was you, he'd be saying, I can't just talk to her about it. It's too early to have a deep conversation. But he said to her, hey, I like to be honest. I like to open up about this stuff. You don't have to kiss me, but I just want to know why you don't want to kiss me. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Like, I'm not pressuring you, but I just like to know why. Because I take a lot of things very personally, and I'm really struggling with my dating, and sometimes I'm really insecure. And so I just would appreciate to know why. It would help me. And she was like, I don't really know why. And he's like, well, that's okay. Like, can you think of some reasons why? And then she thought for half a second, and she was like, well, because we're in public, and I'm Japanese, and we don't really kiss in public much. And I know this is the West, but we don't really kiss much. And he was like, well, would you like to go back to my apartment and kiss? And she's like, I'd like that a lot. And so that's the beautiful things that happen when you open up. And you might say, that's just opening up about a little bit. They went back to his apartment. He said, can I kiss you? Can we make out? They made out. And then every time he kept touching her body, she would get a little weird. And she kind of pushed his hand away. And it happened like 2 or 3 times. And then he was like, hey, let's pause. Let's stop. Is everything okay? Like, if you don't want to have sex, just tell me. We don't have to have sex. But again, I'm very insecure. And I often take this stuff very personally. And so if it's about me, it would mean a lot if you just told me. If it's not about me, do you mind if we talk about it? And no pressure. I don't want to talk you into sex, but like, do you mind if we talk about it? And she got a little bit sort of shy, and then, they cuddled for a little bit, and he just kind of held her. And then she started crying. And so he just stroked her hair and gently held her and said like, hey, what's up? And she's like, look, I'll be honest. I went through some violent stuff in my last relationship, and I don't massively want to talk about it, but it was quite violent. And I think I really struggled to connect and be intimate with someone. And so I don't really know if I want to do this. And he was like, that's okay. And then he opened up about his shit. And he's like, to be honest, I've really struggled with my own dating life and feeling of unworthiness and, like I'm not lovable and I'm not good enough. And I've really struggled to be honest and vulnerable. And he has. Framebite, this guy has said a lot of the same stuff you've said. He said, you can't talk about the deep stuff at the start, especially not if they're your social circle or workplace. There are certain topics that are taboo to talk about on the first date. Now, that's fear talking. That's like social etiquette talking. You can talk about those topics if you want to, And so he talked about these topics with her, and he told her the things he was scared of, and she told him the things she was scared of, and they talked about this. And then eventually, after they held each other for a while and he stroked her hair for a little while, she said, I would like to have sex. I want to do this with you. And he was like, are you absolutely sure? And she was like, she was really cute. She was like, stop talking, less talking. And then they made up and they ended up having sex. And then they cuddled afterwards, and she texted him the next day and said that was really special. That was really meaningful. And they're going to see each other again and blah, 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 and all of that. And so you have this concept right now that there are things that you can't talk about. You even go on to say, the radical honesty works with the BDSM crowd, which usually comes with trauma, but not with the well-adjusted vanilla girls. Wrong. You have a superstition. You have not done this enough to know. As Brandon said, and he's probably going to say, I can't just blurt out the things I'm thinking. Is that true? You can. You might say, I don't want to. Fair enough. Brilliant. I want you to do what you want to do, brother. But own it. Be honest. Be intellectually honest. We are men and women of honesty and science here. We are not here to make up superstitions. And if you say, but I have some experience of vanilla girls that didn't handle it very well, congratulations. You have a sample size of fuck all. Go out there. I mean, do whatever you want. You don't have to do this. But I have gone out there and been this ridiculously autistically upfront and honest. I am this upfront and honest with all of you. I just straight up tell you, hey, I went to prison when I was fucking 19. Hey, my dick's on the internet. I just tell you everything. I just told you the thoughts that are in my head. I will tell any of you any of the thoughts that are in my head at any point in time. And you know what will fucking happen when I do? You will fucking respect me for it. You will. Every fucking time when I pour out what is in my head. Now, some people will not respect me for it. Some vanilla girls, and just people in general, will not like your radical honesty. Brilliant. Why would you want to spend time with someone that you have to play games with? Why would you want to be with someone that you can't just say what's on your fucking mind? Why would you want to be with someone where you have to keep this mask up and tiptoe around because you're fucking scared? I don't want to live my life in fear. I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be having this, like, we're not having a debate, but like, you wouldn't be having this discussion with me. You'd just be like, yeah, I like to save the honesty stuff for the second or the third day. I'd be like, sweet, bro, cool. Like, you'd already have peace in it. We wouldn't even be talking about this. So, yeah, man, you're allowed to be honest and upfront if you want to, but basically all of you have fuck all sample size. When you have done this for long enough and then coached several hundred people and then helped thousands more, and just being completely fucking upfront and honest, you realize how much people walk around in superstition. And yeah, this is something I don't have a lot of patience for, probably because it's 2 hours. So let's end the live stream. I really appreciate you talking about this. You've been fucking vulnerable. I know I've kind of gone hard with you on this one. I'll leave you with like maybe one article if you haven't already seen it. It's called, Oh No, You've Angered the Gods. And I literally talk about this. Bro, I talk so much about this in this article. I talk about how we often like have like a little sample size or like not as big a sample size as someone else. So this article here. And we've done something a bunch of times. Like maybe you could even say, bro, what are you talking about? I tried opening up to like 15 vanilla girls. And it's like, go try opening up to 100 vanilla girls. So yeah, I talk about this in this article. Oh no, you've angered the gods. So to be very clear, I really appreciate you opening up. You've done a beautiful job. But every time I am open and upfront and honest, let's say 90% of the time, when I'm truly upfront and honest, yeah, the person is like, hey, I appreciate your honesty. Now, some people then say, I appreciate your honesty. This is not what I'm looking for. I appreciate your honesty. I don't think I can handle this level of autistic honesty. I can't do this myself. Sometimes you have to help people through that honesty. Like sometimes you'll be autistically honest and the other person will be awkward. And there'll be like an awkward silence and it will get really weird and awkward all of a sudden. It's then your job to help that person through that and hold their hand and gently guide them through that. But that's not a failure. That's like part of the process. But yeah. Expert cheek clapper, you say, people who blur things out are amazing. My friend has Tourette's and will sometimes say, woohoo. Yeah. I think I've just systematically built my entire life around autistic honesty by this point. And it is all I advocate. And if some of you struggle with that autistic honesty or that upfrontness, which Framebite, like that's you right now. You're sort of saying, are you sure you can be honest and upfront? But like bad things might happen. Like I get that. I will talk to you guys about that until the end of time. Like I am here to help you be more honest and upfront. But if you ever say to me, like, how do I not be upfront? Like, how do I I mean, what was the exact wording you said? It was something like, how do I like subconsciously? I can't remember what you said. But basically, like, yeah, how do I get her to see what I'm trying to get her to see, but without saying it? My answer, bro, is just always. You were like, how do I indirectly communicate? Those two words together are two words that I will never advocate. Indirect communication. I will never advocate that ever. You will literally never hear me say that. If other people want to, brilliant. Like, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just not me. Like, ever. That will never be me. I will never answer a question of like, how do I indirectly help someone? And yeah, bro, I hope it's clear that I'm not like judging you for that. I did have judgmental thoughts in my head, to be clear, but I wasn't believing those judgmental thoughts. If you want to do indirect communication, go for it. You're just never going to get an answer from me. It would be like if any of you said, like, how do I, you're not saying this, but if you were like, okay, if someone was like, how do I do sales techniques in a business? My answer is always going to be, I'm not going to answer that question. Like, just don't do sales techniques. I did that for a couple of years. It was really painful. I treated everyone like the other. I tried to get stuff from them. Just be honest and upfront. If you say, how do I do a good marketing pitch for my business? I'll answer that question. You know, great. But yeah, sales techniques are stuff that I don't really like to answer. Indirect communication is just not really my thing. I appreciate you being brave enough, by the way, to ask all your questions. You asked really great questions, and I appreciate that too, Framebite, because I did literally say I do kind of get the same questions over and over again. And you definitely asked different questions. That was fucking sick, bro. I appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all of you. You're all doing a wonderful, fucking beautiful job. It's okay if sometimes you judge yourself or judge others. I literally told you live on stream that I had some judgmental thoughts in my head towards, a couple of you. That's okay. We're all doing our best. It's okay if you struggle. Vlad, we're all thinking of you and your grandmother. Go away and think about how great she was. And feel free to bring that tomorrow, by the way, Vlad, if you want to. Feel free to come tomorrow and share some of the beautiful things, memories that you had from your grandmother. We would love that. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you're all cool as shit. You're all doing your best, including me. We're all imperfect humans, including me. Let's go out there and be the best imperfect humans that we can be. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? These guys didn't wait. They joined my coaching program and gave themselves the life that they've been dreaming of. Taylor had a threesome, tons of sex, learned to be honest with his intimate partners, and fully embraced a more peaceful, happy, and loving mindset. Laz more than doubled his income from $25K to $45K a month, as well as having more sex than he could handle, all while fully embracing honesty and authenticity. Corky learned to love himself instead of always beating himself up. Oh, and he had a threesome, sex with 7 women, and started his own business. Want to do what they've done? Join our coaching program, and I and the other coaches will pour our heart and soul into giving you the life that you've dreamed of. No more waiting. Now is the right time. Link in the description below.